Chair Jerome Powell says it's too soon to say what the central bank's appropriate response will be to new Trump tariffs, though he also calls them highly likely to at least temporarily raise inflation.
Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty about where all that's going to sort out, the forms it will take, and what the economic effects will be. If you fast forward a year from now, the uncertainty should be much lower.
Before Powell's previously scheduled event today, President Trump urged him again to cut interest rates, also accusing him of playing politics. Powell says the Fed will focus on keeping price increases temporary. Stocks are tanking for a second day. Right now, the Dow is down just about 1,600 points, dropping under 39K. This after China hit back, announcing a 34% retaliatory tariff on U.S. imports. Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy tells Fox the stock market matters because so many Americans invest in it.
I'm not going to bubble wrap it. What's happening is not good. Now, will it continue? Will we find the bottom and then it'll start to go back up? I hope so. That's what I'm pulling for.
Otherwise, he says it may be time to recalibrate. President Trump insists a boom is coming and is highlighting countries who want to negotiate. The president also pointing to today's better-than-expected jobs report for March. A federal judge just ruling the Trump administration violated a court order by stopping disbursement of FEMA grants to states after an injunction on a funding freeze. Just a short time ago off the California coast, 4 space tourists just returning in a SpaceX Dragon capsule.
Welcome home from 2. We have confirmation of splashdown of the Dragon spacecraft. Dragon has returned home with the From 2 crew.
A Bitcoin investor and 3 others, the first human space flight to orbit over Earth's north and south poles. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Periods of rain as we go through our Friday afternoon. 63, but it's going to seem colder than that. Heavy rain at times tonight, 51. Saturday, periods of rain, mainly a light rain on Saturday, a chilly 55. Sunday, rain ends by noon, but there could be some wet snowflakes around Sunday morning. Partly sunny going through Sunday afternoon, but chilly and raw, 49. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesiderd.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
At the Williams residence, everything looked kind of the same from the outside. But inside, their lives just got way happier. 3 years of inflation and debt had crushed them. But for the first time, they had the cash to secure their retirement, pay off bills, and plan their future. They didn't win the lottery exactly. They did a genius financial strategy called the Sell and Stay program from Truehold. It's easy. Their home's value had rebounded greatly, so they quickly sold it to Truehold and banked all that equity in cash. But since they weren't ready to move, they could stay put with an easy, affordable lease. Truehold even paid their property taxes, home insurance, and essential home repairs. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a Truehold offer now while your home's value is high. Call 855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is going to happen across the board, and it's very disturbing. This is self-inflicted. This is not COVID. You know, Donald Trump did nothing to counteract COVID, and we saw what happened to the markets back then as a result. But this is Donald Trump literally causing COVID and bringing that to the markets with his tariffs.
I wonder if J.B. Pritzker is going to lock us down for another 2 years due to the threat of tariffs.
One executive order at a time.
Yeah. I mean, Governor Pritzker, you'd love that, wouldn't you? Just like COVID. Only, you know, when you listen to Pritzker say Donald Trump did nothing to combat COVID, who's one of the high lords of the progressive left? Anthony Fauci. I mean, honestly, kind of not to Donald Trump's credit, he gave Fauci a lot of latitude. So it's weird to disagree with Pritzker on something that causes me to kind of criticize Trump. Like, I think you're missing the boat here. But J.B. Pritzker, of course, saying the things he thinks that his politicos want to hear. And that's one of the many reasons he's a terrible governor. Happy Friday, everybody. It's good to be here. It's so rainy outside.
It's going to be rainy for days.
Baseball games today canceled. Baseball games tomorrow canceled. We are 2 for 3, waiting on a track meet.
Ooh, congratulations. I've got soccer tonight, soccer tomorrow, soccer Sunday. None of them canceled.
Indoor?
Outdoor.
Oh, man.
That's why soccer sucks. I'm sorry.
What the heck is going on, soccer people? Cancel these games.
You want me to talk to him?
Yeah, if you could.
Call him on the air.
Call him right now.
We're like, hi, this is Dave Murray. It's going to rain a lot in a lot of places. You should cancel.
Dave Murray doesn't usually call me or sound like that, but
It's
I guess
that
we'll
important.
cancel.
It's really important. Nobody tell Dave I did that.
I won't.
He'll quit his job as chief meteorologist. Don't you think you should be able to say meteorologist if you're a meteorologist? Dave can, expert level. They all can. Not all of them can.
Just like say the word?
Say it.
Meteorologist?
You could be one.
Could I?
Probably not. Well, we've seen your weather reports.
Yeah.
Brad, can you say it the first time?
Meteorologist?
Yeah. Meteorologist. But sometimes it just turns into a meteor.
Jewelry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, that one's rough.
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
You know, you're getting my dad all worked up right now.
I was aiming at you, but if I got your dad, I guess.
I'm sure that you two have talked about
I'll take what I can get.
Jewelry. You want to talk about tariffs? Nobody's talking about that.
There's a new tariff in town.
Can you please go right now and make something?
Make some sounders.
I just said yesterday off the air. I don't think we talked about this on the air, but I think you guys were talking about how nice a good jingle is.
Yeah.
And I said, I think the Annie Fry Show needs some jingles. What if people in the YouTube live chat today gave us some ideas for some little rhymes that you could put to jingle. Would
Sure.
you do it?
Yeah, I'll do it. I've got one in mind already.
What are you going to do with that thought?
I'll tell you how it goes already.
No, I don't want to know.
No?
I want
Okay.
the production level.
Okay, you want the production.
What are we, 36 hours into Tariff Palooza?
Just about.
How you feeling? Got to check my stocks while you talk.
Yeah.
Time you get the opportunity, I'm like,
I just wonder where the market is going to go. Okay, this is our new normal now, because they haven't found that spot yet. They are freaking out. I don't mean to step on a clip if you have this one, but Marco Rubio was talking this morning about how, yes, markets are reacting because markets are where the products are made and they're freaking out. That doesn't mean the economy is freaking out. It just means the markets are because the companies are.
do you have any less support, any less trust in Donald Trump at this point than you have at other periods of time?
No. In fact, that's the reason that I'm in support of this. I was trying to think this morning of what Donald Trump exactly has gotten wrong. Because most politicians, they do very little. They don't make big claims. They don't make big decisions. They just kind of get by because it's the easiest thing to do to stay in power. Donald Trump has been president for over 4 years now, and he does nothing but make big decisions. Usually somebody who's willing to go on the record that big, you'd find a lot of mistakes that he'd made. I can't really think of any major mistakes that this guy has made or policy decisions that he's made that have been wrong. So that's why
I think COVID's probably the one.
That's the one. In fact, I was putting
And
together.
you can also kind of understand it. That went in on something and it just turned out to not be the right thing.
That's the problem, is that if you want to criticize Donald Trump of a policy decision that he messed up, it was shutting down anything at all, ever.
Yeah.
He never should have done it. But the problem is, usually if you have a policy that somebody's messed up on really big, you'd see the other side go, oh yeah, he really messed that up. We wouldn't have done that. But in that situation, the other side said he didn't do it enough. So they were even more wrong
They
than
said
him.
he messed it up. Here's what we would have done differently. More
of that. So it's hard to criticize him for that because they would have done it even worse. On record.
Yeah. And I mean, when they had the opportunity, speaking from as an Illinoisan, when the left had the power, they went in as hard as they could for as long as they could. And if you take the 30,000-foot view of the COVID crisis, in the moment that we were in, Donald Trump, as the top guy, has to make decisions. You cannot have analysis paralysis in that type of a moment. You cannot freeze. If you're in the fight or flight moment as the president of the United States, you cannot freeze. You can't do nothing. When you find yourself looking at what Donald Trump did, and he's going in on the things that he was saying at the time. I remember him saying, I mean, we closed down in mid-March, and I remember him saying, like, I want to be in churches for Easter. And he was saying that, and everybody was like, it's dangerous that you would even suggest that. His intuition was different than what the ultimate product was of what his staff decided to do, of which Pence was the lead on that.
Mm-hmm.
Trump kind of handed that over to Pence. I can handle people. I kind of wish Trump would have been more open about, we got that one wrong. I think he's kind of maybe alluded to that from time to time, that we could, in hindsight, things would have been done differently. He's certainly said his piece on Fauci. But you got to ask yourself, what is the purpose and intention of the people who are leading? Is it themselves? Or is it you, the American citizen? And that's, to me, where all of the questions about, do I trust Donald Trump with this? Do I trust him with that? I mean, I certainly voted for him 3 times for president. But when it comes to looking at tariffs, looking at stock prices right now, Tesla's down to 240, 10% down today. When it comes to all of this, I truly believe that Donald Trump wants America to have the most wild success and to be as great as it possibly can be. That's an outward thing. The left, I truly believe, thinks that if you get into an office, an elected office, that you have been granted permission to run the lives of the underlings who weren't smart enough, rich enough, powerful enough to get to the places where you have gotten. Like the very essence of an elected office existing to a Democrat is for an entirely different purpose than that of a Republican, at least at its core. And I would say the Republican Party was kind of losing its way for a while. They think, oh, let's just do big government our way in our places instead of big government the Democrat way. And I think when you pay attention to the things that Chuck Schumer is saying, like, good grief, I can't get it out of my head. When he was talking on The View and he's like, people are out there saying, I work hard for my money. I want to keep my money. And I built my business by myself. If you think that you want to support someone who's like that, then Chuck Schumer's not your guy. He's there to tell you that he's there to protect government because government provides for the people. And the alternative, the libertarian, the Republican, the conservative, the moderate view on the United States of America is the government gets in the way of your opportunity to provide for yourself. In large part. Really, DOJ is combing all of that stuff out of the system right now to make sure that what the government's business is actually that of the taxpayer, the interest of the taxpayer to help in places that couldn't be helped without the involvement of the government. The government manufactures new problems that need to have newly manufactured budgets with money that hasn't been taken in yet. And you'd got to go 1, 2, 3 generations away from you are right now to say, I'm going to take the taxpayer dollars of this child that's not even, born yet to fund this new problem that I've identified. Nobody, unless you're in the system, unless you are a beneficiary of the big government system within the walls of that government swampy structure, nobody thinks that's a good idea.
Yeah. The economic left doesn't really know what to do with this at all. They love taxes, so they can't say, well, we hate this because it's a tax. They know that they hate Trump, so they know that they hate it, but they're starting from there, and they're trying to figure out, Robert Reich is one of the lead economists from the left. He was for Clinton. He went out and said, well, he's just doing this to benefit billionaires. You're like, this is that on its face doesn't even make any sense. Who's suffering the most from the stock market right now? Billionaires. So they can't figure out how to criticize it.
There are not a lot of lower class people right now checking their 401ks and worrying about the stock price of Apple. They're fretting over that. They're gonna worry about the cost of goods. They're gonna worry about the price of groceries. That's the type of stuff that matters. But I have a whole philosophy. We're gonna talk about this at 1:00, and I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget it. Oh man, you guys, when I get home, when I'm riding home, and I think, oh, I had such a great point on that. I said I was going to talk about it. And when I think about it, 3:12 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Super annoying. But I think that when we hear Donald Trump talk about the golden age that is upon us, everybody's thinking dollars, cents, 401ks, stock market, rates. I heard from Stewie yesterday, and he's like, rates are down.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you need to tell people right now, like mortgage rates. He said to me yesterday, if you have gotten a mortgage in the last 3 years, you significantly need to consider a refi soon. Now, are you going to play the game and wait and see if they go down further? That's on you. But if you're in a position right now where you've gotten a mortgage in the last 3 years, go Google that bagel loan and tell them Annie sent you.
I'm licking my chops. This is what he says all the time. He's like, buy now because rates will eventually go down.
And then you refinance with a bagel loan for no cost. I know that I'm partners with him and he sponsors the show, but I have done that twice with him because it was a really, really smart move for my family. And I'm so grateful that I took my own advice. So when I say that to you, I mean that heart to heart to you as a listener of the show. All right, I'm writing down. something.
Oh, what is it?
I'm not telling you.
It's a great point, and she's going to bring it up in the 1 o'clock hour.
She better remember.
At 3:12 to myself in my car while I curse the sky.
At 3:12, I remember a lot of great points you didn't bring up, too.
You don't even wait. You don't wait till 3.
But today, if you can remember to hit that one at 1 o'clock, I guess I'll just walk away kind of a defeated man.
Unlike other days. All right, we're going to speak. We haven't had a conversation with Kush before, have we? Kush Desai, Deputy White House Press Secretary. Working our way in there, Ryan. We're going to talk about tariffs. We're going to talk about Liberation Day. And we're going to get an idea of how they are feeling about the progress and the success of what has been done so far. Can you measure success in 36 hours? Let's listen here to what President Trump said on Air Force One yesterday. We'll take a break and we'll come back with the Deputy White House Press Secretary.
Those tariffs have come in and every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat. If we would have asked some of these countries, almost most of these countries, to do us a favor, they would have said no. Now they'll do anything for us. But we have tariffs, they've been set, and it's going to make our country very rich.
But are you open to deals with these countries if they're calling you?
Well, it depends. If somebody said that we're going to give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving us something that's good. For instance, with TikTok as an example, we have a situation with TikTok where China will probably say, we'll approve a deal, but will you do something on the tariff? The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well in the first administration, as you saw, but now we're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation.
Dreams, that's where I have to go.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Hope there's a conversation. We both admit we had it good. But until then,
you want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
I love the way he articulates things together, examples with all his stage members up there at all different levels, which is wonderful to see and inspiring.
That's Orlando on his Expo experience. It's coming again. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful real estate investors and learn proven strategies that work. Find out more and save $100 when you text Expo to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Sean Fain recognizes what so many auto workers recognize, which is that President Trump's policies are great. And yes, there is some transition that's going to come along with this, but you're already seeing the evidence that things are getting better. Egg prices are lower. Energy prices are lower. You've got trillions of dollars of new investment coming into the country. That's people who are building factories because they want to avoid the tariffs. And that's the exact purpose of President Trump's economic policies.
The eggs with Brooke Rollins. I mean, what an amazing job just to knock those down that fast.
She's done an awesome job. And again, it shows how much good economic policy matters. But what really the goal is here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get trillions of dollars of new investment into our country. That's new factories, that's new jobs, that's new products coming online. That's what we're after, and that's what we're fighting for.
Vice President J.D. Vance speaking on the benefits, the purpose, the intention of the Trump tariff plan. We are on the other side of Liberation Day, and we wanted to talk to the White House about how they think it's going so far. Let's speak to Deputy White House Press Secretary Kush Desai. Kush, thank you for being here with us today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Now, give us your thoughts on, we're just 36 or so hours into this tariff plan being administered. There's some reactions from other countries that have come in. China, of course, today, reciprocal coming back with an increased tariff on the United States goods. How is the White House feeling?
Look, we're feeling very good about where we are right now. Obviously, China is threatening retaliation. Other countries have come forward and offered concessions. Vietnam, the president of Vietnam spoke with the president today, and they offered to lower their tariff rates. And you've seen other countries from Israel to the UK to India offer other preemptive concessions as well. So we're seeing lots of countries, trying to make a deal here. Obviously, these tariffs are not a negotiation. This is a national emergency. We're trying to remedy the decades of trade deficits that have hollowed out our country's industries and communities. And so, the president remains committed to putting our industries and our workers first here to restore American greatness.
I think one of the things that I have to remind myself as a person who spends most of my day engrossed in headlines and, of course, the politics that work their way into those headlines, Kush, is that people are looking for immediate gratification in most instances. They want to know exactly what's going to happen and how close we are to the good side of this. How do you feel right now about the reaction you've seen from some of these other countries, and how much patience do you think the American people are going to have before they really can reap the benefits of what the reset is doing right now?
Look, the thing is that the American people have suffered for decades now due to the flawed, quote, free trade policies that politicians in Washington have implemented for decades. I mean, we've lost millions of manufacturing jobs, over the last few decades alone. I think people talk about pain, but the reality is that American workers, American communities have been feeling pain from lopsided trade policies for decades now. And this action reflects kind of the first time that a president has taken bold, decisive action to really turn that around. As far as immediate gratification goes, I mean, look, we've already seen trillions in historic investment commitments, and that's from companies, and that ranges from these big tech giants like TSMC and Apple, the cutting edge of technology wanting to make electronics and semiconductors here in the United States, to car manufacturers like Hyundai investing billions in the United States, and in even furniture makers. I mean, in North Carolina, we used to be a big hub for furniture making, and companies are starting to come back now. So we're seeing we're seeing good headlines pop up all over. I think the media just likes focusing on kind of the doomsday Chicken Little experts who are predicting doom and gloom here.
I mean, I can think of about 100 million times when in the campaign, Donald Trump talked about how beautiful of a word tariff was. He loves that word. He never shied away from it. He was not at all clandestine about how he was going to implement tariffs to level the playing field for America, to make it so that we were no longer being taken advantage of. So when America voted with a mandate for Donald Trump, they certainly knew that the tariff game was going to be in play once Donald Trump became the president. We now see some Republicans in the Senate pushing back a little bit on and pushing more for what they're referring to as free trade. Does the president have any love lost for these Republican senators and the pushback they're giving?
Look, the fact of the matter is that President Trump is the leader of the GOP, the president of our country. And as you said, the American people gave him a very clear mandate. has been very clear, not just in the 2024 election cycle, but for decades now. He's talked, even when he was a private citizen, talked about how our country's poor trade policies were putting our country last and causing untold economic damage here. So this is something he's been consistent on and been talking about for decades. And the fact of the matter is that if politicians want to live in the past and want to keep hugging these policies that, we're in a national emergency here. These trade deficits have hollowed out American industries. Communities across the heartland of this country have been hollowed out and decimated by unfair cheating by other countries. They can do that at their own peril. But the fact of the matter is that the president has taken bold and firm action. This administration and the American people are with him to restore American greatness.
We're speaking with Deputy White House Press Secretary Kush Desai. We're excited to have him on the show with us to talk about post-Liberation Day, the tariff implementation of the Trump administration, something we knew was coming, and now we're here and we're watching it happen. I think to myself about Trump's commitment. He, as I was saying in the last question set up, how he said he was going to do this. There's been a lot of things trying to push him off of this issue, and he seems to have surrounded himself with Bessent and Lutnick and people who really think similarly to him on a lot of these economic issues. But the thing that I appreciate so much about the conversations when I hear those individuals speaking, they have such a bright presentation and a hope for the future of America. They have an excitement behind the tone of their voice. I'm wondering if you could comment a little bit on the relationship and the advice that Donald Trump gets when it comes to implementing these things. Is it a group effort and he's the leader? How is this being influenced?
Yeah, definitely. Look, President Trump, I think, has assembled the best and brightest trade and economic team in modern political history. Folks with, like Secretary Lutnick and Secretary Bessent, who come in with great, extensive private sector experience. Other folks like Kevin Hassett and Peter Navarro, who have been on the academic side of things. And so he's really assembled the best and brightest who can kind of look at trade and economics from every angle here, from the perspective of, like I said, from the academic side to the practical business side. And, they obviously there's always some discussion and debate, but the president wants to surround himself with the best and brightest, and he wants to make the best decision possible for the American people. And that's exactly what he's done. He's not caving into special interests who kind of want to preserve the broken status quo that our country's been relegated to for decades now. He wants to, he's thinking about, his kids, our grandkids here. He's thinking about the future here to make sure our country can be as great as it once was.
Kush, I'm thinking to myself about just how the president has been resolved over this. And like you're saying, that the work that has been put in leading up to him swearing in the oath of office and being in a position to actually make these things come to fruition. And I think that a lot of people look at the tariff implementation. They're thinking pretty much just dollars and cents when it comes on the surface level, like an economic reaction. But I really believe that this is going to have cultural implications in the United States as well. I see at the events that he's doing surrounding Liberation Day, there's a lot of union presence there. There are a lot of people who weren't traditionally growing up, I'm 40 years old, who would have been in the Republican Party, who are now looking at what the president is doing, non-traditional Republicans, and looking at how much benefit is going to come back to America because of these efforts. When it comes to remaking the Republican Party and bringing back a cultural pride in work, job availability effort, is that something that the president thinks about, or is it just more of the economic outcome?
Yeah, and it's funny. I would have guessed you were 24 or 25, but no, I think the president. I think you're exactly right. I think we've this in mainstream American culture, certainly see in media and Hollywood. I think there's this kind of denigration of working class people who really, who quite literally keep the lights on, the water flowing for all of us. And I think, he's trying to push a movement here, and he's been successfully done so, of kind of uniting the American worker here, the American workers across the heartland, across every corner of our country. And really, I think when we kind of look at this push to bring manufacturing back, which, by the way, so many of our peer countries, Japan, Germany, et cetera, have managed to do, because they put their countries first and we've put our country last. I think it's about putting, restoring this proper idea of, we should be making things here and we should be respecting the people who make things, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. I mean, the economy isn't just numbers on a computer screen. It's tangible things that you hold and that you use that make your life better. And so I think it's not just dollars and cents. You're right. I think it's about restoring this a proper culture that respects, that the economy is really about making things and respecting the people who do just that.
Kush Desai speaking with us right now, Deputy White House Press Secretary. We appreciate your time today, and we look forward to watching the timeline on this. The immediate gratification that I think a lot of Americans want, and then, of course, you look at the stock market and you gasp. And I've heard the president say, even in the joint address to Congress earlier this year, we know where we have to get to, and there might be a moment in time where it's not as easy, but we have to get through that moment in order to get to where we need to be, because the status quo, as you've mentioned multiple times, we're headed off of a cliff. You have to change course. If you're headed off of a cliff, you have to do something different, and they know what needs to be done. It seems as though the president isn't, he's not looking at the stock market today, putting his, hands on his cheeks and saying, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I had no idea. How long do you think that the spook in the stock market ends up happening, and does that affect the president's reactions?
Well, look, I think first and foremost, the only guiding concern for the president is what's in the best interest of the American people, not any special interest or any particular sector or anything like that. And the other thing that I think the stock market and these kind of armchair experts and the media is losing sight of is that, tariffs are obviously a very important part of the president's America First economic agenda. But it's just one part of the economic agenda. When you look at everything else we're doing, deregulation, the Biden administration alone put in trillions of dollars of regulations on our economy that you and I and everyone else is paying for when we buy things and when companies try to do business and that sort of thing. So we're slashing those regulations. We're trying to push tax cuts. We're unleashing American energy. And you've seen the drop you've probably noticed the drop in gas prices at the fuel pump. And that's a saving, for you and I. But when you look at a drop in diesel prices, I mean, around a fourth of the operating cost for truckers is the cost of fuel, and that's usually almost diesel. And everything that you get, everything that at the grocery store or the supermarket or wherever gets you in a truck. And so the effect of lower energy costs is cascading throughout the economy. And so when you kind of look at the full picture of what's going on, and I obviously should also mention the DOGE spending cuts. I mean, even Obama economists were warning Joe Biden, hey, don't spend trillions of dollars, on these COVID stimulus bills. It'll ratchet up inflation, and that's exactly what happened. We're hitting inflation or addressing inflation at the root cause, which is runaway government spending. And that inflation was also why the Federal Reserve had to raise interest rates. And that means more expensive mortgages, more expensive financing for businesses who want to expand. So we're taking a full of economy approach here, where we're hitting every single lever we can to get our economy bustling and growing again. And tariffs are one part of that. But like I said, so is deregulation, so are tax cuts, so is unleashing American energy, and so is reining in runaway spending.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We're speaking with the Deputy White House Press Secretary, Kush Desai. We hope you'll come back with us. We appreciate the updates, the insight, and the explanations, and there's going to be plenty to talk about. So, Kush, please come back with us. We'd love to have you.
Happy to be on.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good to talk to the White House there on these tariffs. And, we've had this conversation here in this room. I've had 2 conversations recently with people who are in the business of the economy, and there is a suggestion that the knowledge of everything coming down. Now we have, as I said before, I was talking with Stewie yesterday specifically. He just gave me the heads up that mortgage rates had come down. I'm not smart enough to understand it, but is there a benefit to everything resetting in this way, bringing rates down, making money more affordable to borrow? Does it have an implication on our nation's debt? I don't know the answers to the questions. I'm just asking.
Oh, yes.
I don't know that you know the answers to the question. Do you?
I like to pretend that I do.
Well, that's what I'm worried about, because this stuff matters. But I mean, what do you think?
I do think that he has a very big picture view of what he's doing here. I don't think it's just one thing. I mean, that's what Kush was saying too. Is that
that's kind of what
this is a big, they're a multi-prong approach to basically resetting the global economy is what he's doing. But even the short term is I'm looking at this summer and really between now, it started now. I mean, right now through the summer, you should see things like mortgage rates drop. And that's the first time we will have seen mortgage rates drop in years.
Quick Rick says, Annie, worry about your debt first. Refi if you can. Dude, my interest rate is so awesome.
It's balling.
Yeah.
I don't know in my lifetime if I will ever see an interest rate opportunity like I currently have right now.
Yeah.
And from talking to Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage, when he was in here, I think maybe last with us, I said to him, like, should people hold out for a 2% interest rate? And he was like, no, you may never, ever see that again. And he made the point, like, if 4s and 5s is probably more realistic of what is healthy, to his point, and I keep reminding myself of this, in order to get those 2% rates again, we're going to have some sort of economic calamity take place. And you don't want that. So,
Well, it's a weird place to be because markets are dropping. They're going to drop. I don't know where the floor is, but the interest rates are so high, even from the Federal Reserve, that you have a lot of room to juice it back up if you need to. And Trump knows this. So that's the long game that he's playing. That's not even the long game.
He's been pushing for quite some time for them to lower rates, and they won't do it.
They won't do it.
And the question that I ask myself, because I don't know anything, is are they not lowering them because Trump asked them to lower them? Is this like Trump-based?
That's a good question.
I mean, I think it's at least in the room of questions that could be asked.
Certainly. It certainly is. But it leaves a lot of room for action for the Fed. And, I've said this, I think you happened to be on vacation, it was about a month ago, that if Trump does this, one of the reasons that he's doing it is to rattle the markets so that the interest rates come down, because we have a tremendous, I think it's like a fourth of all of our debt, or roughly a fourth, is coming due this summer. And to refinance the national debt, it's like $8 trillion we have to refinance. If rates are sky high, that's going to cost us an extra multiple $trillion.
He should just sign an executive order like Biden and forgive it. He should just make it go away. Give me a marker, somebody.
I didn't even think about that. We print money. We could just print that money.
That's what we should do.
And then it just goes away.
Sign the check, Donald Trump. Poof, gone.
I mean, why didn't I think of that?
Because it's stupid. Wait a second.
Hey, yeah, I think I just won. Damn
it.
That never happens.
You
know what's really sad,
It was a good bit, though.
You know what's really sad, though, is that I didn't even realize I won. You realized I won.
Let's take a break.
So I think I still lost.
I need to go take a walk. I need to think about what I've done. Not Wiggins America, the Bee or Not the Bee. Or Wiggins America, the Bee or Not the Bee. You got any good ones today?
Yeah, I got a couple of great ones to lead off here.
We love this segment on this show. The Bee or Not the Bee. We get headlines from Ryan and try to figure out, gosh, could that possibly be real? Or is it the ever-loved Babylon Bee? Coming up next on Wiggins America.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
American Mortgage, man. I think I already did this one. I think I've pretty much already sold the fact that mortgage rates have gone down. Everything's going down. You might as well benefit from it, right? If you reach out to Stewie to talk about a bagel loan, and I'm telling you to do it right now, you can just do it in a text. Send him a text. He'll get back to you, and then you can start talking about whether or not you can lower your mortgage rate right now by locking in a bagel loan. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. When you talk to Stewie about a bagel loan, he can tell you, if he said to me yesterday specifically, if you've gotten a mortgage in the last 3 years, get on the bagel loan right away because the rates are coming down. He was dare I say, giddy about where the mortgage rates were yesterday. So go reach out to him, start the conversation. Once you decide to do it, he can close in less than 2 weeks on a refinance on even a new mortgage. Reach out to Stewie and get the conversation started today. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan for more information and MLS number 226715.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Game tickets? Check.
A round of cold beers? Check.
Ballpark hot dogs? Check.
Baseball is back and nothing beats a night out with the guys.
Or ladies.
At a Cardinals game.
From thrilling games and mouthwatering eats to the iconic ballpark energy, Busch Stadium is the ultimate spot for you and your crew to dive into America's favorite pastime.
Make your next night out the best one yet. Join us at Busch Stadium, where every hour is happy.
For tickets, visit Cardinals.com.
St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around the store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Yeah, I apologize, and really on behalf of Annie, I haven't done anything wrong. But I don't know that we've mentioned this YouTube live chat poll question yet today, and it's a big one. Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? That's the question. Your 3 answers that you could give are yes, yes only medicinally, or no. YouTube live chat poll, let us know what you think. It is 12:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
97.1 FM Talk is proudly supporting the Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts raffle, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers. Learn more at stlgunsandhoses.com and listen to the Mark Cox Morning Show Fridays at 8:20 for winner announcements. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
The bee or not the bee?
Well, Well, that was unpleasant.
It's only because you make it unpleasant.
Excuse me?
It was pleasant for me.
We should explain.
Nah, that's okay.
You turn the saxophone on and Ryan just can't
I
control
just started
himself.
rubbing butter all over my chest. Metaphorically.
Nobody's participating.
Metaphorically
No,
speaking.
Ethan. Do not ask a follow-up question.
People hear that and they're
That's, that's a big mistake.
Just rubbing butter on his chest metaphorically.
After the show is over, you two can go answer all the questions that you need.
I'll start a list.
Thank you.
We won't say any words. We'll let the saxophone speak for us.
Be or not the bee?
Be or not to be. These are headlines that are either from the Babylon Bee, which would mean that they are fake news, or they are real. You have to tell me which is which. First one, genius Trump tricks Democrats into hating taxes.
That's got to be the bee.
Seems real, though. B.
While it is the bee, it is also real.
as the best ones are.
Studies now show that 98% of Democrats say they hate taxes after hearing that Trump is for them. Shocking political analysts. Quote, "We hate taxes now. Taxes are fascism," said several paid Democrat protesters holding up Stop Trump's Tariff signs outside the White House. Quote, "We won't rest until all these oppressive taxes have been eliminated from our lives completely."
Rawr! This is what I was saying to Hans yesterday. Do you remember when we went through the Affordable Care Act and it was the Tea Party was like, no new taxes, don't tax us, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, it's not a tax. Obama himself said it's not a tax. This isn't a tax.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Supreme Court said it's only constitutional if it's a tax.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Supreme Court being basically John Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
Thanks
great.
a lot, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, George
Thanks,
W.
G-Dub.
Beat you.
All right. Next one. Satanists placed plaque in Minnesota Capitol thanking Tim Walz for his support.
Oh, that has to be real.
Yeah, I'm going to say real. I'm going to go with Ethan on this one.
Too specific.
Satanists place plaque in Minnesota Capitol where he's the governor.
I want to say B, but if you know where the Satanists are most active as a culture or as like
Minnesota.
a group, I was going to say state capitals.
Oh.
That's Minnesota.
They run rampant up there.
You ever been to Eden Prairie?
They're not in the DMA, are they?
From there.
You've got family up there. That's
My
right.
wife is from there.
No, he didn't mean it. It's opposite day. I was going to say that we often hear about, like, there's a nativity scene in a state capitol, and then the Satanists are like, let's throw a little Satan in there, which actually, if you really think about it, makes the nativity scene even more valuable. B.
It is real.
Dang it! I told you. Well, and
Minnesota.
You and I are both right.
Yes. To show their appreciation, the Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers has placed a thank you Governor Walz display in the state's capital.
Do you think Walz was like, well, that was nice?
Well, he defended them. I guess somebody tore down some sort of Satanist display, and he's like, nope, not on my watch. And he helped them to get it back up, so they put this plaque in. The plaque for that display read, "You are your own God."
Well, that's pretty on par.
A local Minnesota representative said the group also had added, quote, I kid you not, this is all real, quote, "Satan has a special place for you, Governor Walz," unquote.
And he thanked them?
Not the bee. That
It's
is
a
a
special
real
place for you.
story.
That makes me swallow hard.
Yes.
Nope.
They are renaming St. Paul Molech, by the way. That is the bee. I just made that up. It's not even the bee. I made it up. All right.
It's the Ryan.
The bee is like, it most certainly is not.
Just the bee's like, I don't want to be associated
You just
with
need to
this.
submit that one to the bee.
Yeah, no kidding. Tomorrow, the bee is going to print that, and they're going to take credit for it.
The bee doesn't know how to satirize some of these things. I wouldn't. Next one. Trump surprised how tall Elton John is up close.
That's a weird bee article. Real?
I'm going to say real.
Did you all say real?
Yes.
It is the bee.
Oh.
The problem is, here we go again.
Every week.
The problem is that it's mostly based on the picture of him standing next to Kid Rock, saying he was surprised how tall Elton John is up close.
How tall is Elton John? I would have guessed like 5'8".
I don't
5'10".
know, but the joke is that he was looking at the gaudy dress that Kid Rock was wearing and saying, "Oh, I thought that was Kid Rock. I thought that was Elton
So
John."
it's not really Elton John.
It's not really Elton John.
A picture would have helped with context.
I
on
know,
that
but
one.
I thought the headline was just too funny. All right, next one. Bruce Springsteen to release 7 new albums this summer.
I don't know. Real.
Real.
It actually is real.
It is real.
Really?
This is real, yeah.
Why is it? I mean, this is how ignorant I am to the boss. He's the boss, right?
Yes.
Steve's the boss.
I know. He always tells us.
Stephen Moore?
Steve.
Yeah, our boss, Steve Moore.
Oh, that's Steve. Sorry. Wrong Steve. Get him mixed up.
The layers of jokes that don't even come through on the air because nobody knows what we're talking about.
Is he... Why is this funny?
It's just a real story, that's all. It's a real story. Bruce Springsteen is actually releasing 7 new albums this summer.
When-ish was the last time he released an album?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that, but this whole backlog is, it says it's a bunch of records that were full records that he's been making since the 90s and just never released. For one reason or another, he felt he was missing something on some of them or they just didn't feel complete at the time.
Imagine the albums that Taylor Swift is going to release when she's, what's he, 70?
Well, she's just going to keep re-releasing her own songs over and over.
Only to get them back.
Yeah.
It looks like the last time that he released an album was 2022, but it looks like they're covers is what it looks like they're all covers. So
Man,
something that was only his stuff, I'm not sure.
Boring. Last one. Dems gather at George Soros' house to celebrate defeating the billionaires.
Man. No
worthy
jokes.
cause.
It's the,
Keeping the jokes to myself.
Gotta be the B.
It is the B. But
What a
again, quote, hurrah, we
It
have
was his
defeated the
son's
billionaires.
house.
And it was all thanks to George Soros that we defeated these billionaires, shouted the Democrats between
What would
bites
they do
of
without him?
caviar. Power to the people. As the crowd settled in for the $50,000 per plate dinner, chairman of the Madison DNC chapter, Tommy Darnold, rose to speak.
Freaking George Soros. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Human trafficking is occurring right here in Missouri. You can help combat it by learning the signs of human trafficking and reporting suspicious activity to law enforcement. Victims may appear malnourished, show signs of mental or physical abuse, or avoid social interaction. If you're a victim or know someone who needs help, contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text the word HELP to Be Free. Together, we can fight human trafficking in Missouri.
Brought to you by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill.
At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Another lifeline for TikTok. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump just extending the deadline by another 75 days for Chinese owner ByteDance to sell the popular app, which otherwise faces a U.S. ban under a law passed by Congress over security and privacy concerns. There are multiple potential investors seeking a deal for U.S. ownership. President Trump says his administration is working hard to save TikTok, and he has hinted that China could get a break on tariffs by approving a deal. China, though, has retaliated against new Trump tariffs with a 34% penalty on U.S. goods. Fed Chair Jerome Powell answering questions after a speech in Virginia with a warning about tariff impacts.
So in this situation, what we face is what I mentioned in my remarks is you actually have risks for higher unemployment and higher inflation, and that's difficult for a central bank.
But he says it's too soon to know the appropriate response for the Fed. Before Powell's speech today, President Trump accusing the Fed chair of playing politics with interest rates in a social media post writing that now would be the perfect time to cut rates. American shrimpers are calling the tariffs a lifeline for their industry.
More than 90% of the shrimp that we eat in the United States is coming from overseas, and that means American shrimpers are forced to slash their prices, and they can't compete. Many are going out of business.
Fox Business's Lydia Hu in Pascagoula, Mississippi, with lifelong commercial fisherman Steve Bosarge.
President Trump has done more in his first 75 days to address unfair trade, which is what we're up against, unfair trade, than my industry's been able to do in the last 25 years.
But stocks keep sinking. Right now, the Dow is down more than 1,400 points, dropping under 39K, back above it for now. The S&P dropping more than 4%, so is the NASDAQ. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Periods of rain as we go through our Friday afternoon. 63, but it's going to seem colder than that. Heavy rain at times tonight, 51. Saturday, periods of rain, mainly a light rain on Saturday, a chilly 55. Sunday, rain ends by noon, but there could be some wet snowflakes around Sunday morning. Partly sunny going through Sunday afternoon, but chilly and raw, 49. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Point Pest Control online at pointpestcontrol.com. They were just at our house earlier this week, and I really, really think that it's going to be a move that you're going to be grateful that you made. It kind of ends up going on autopilot. I'm a quarterly subscriber to Point Pest Control, and essentially we have no bugs in our house. And I'm going to tell you what, before there were spiders, there were different kinds of creepy crawly critters downstairs. I don't know. They were just disgusting in the basement. And when they came in, they could identify all of the different kind of work that had been done in our basement by these bugs that existed there. The kids had come up and complain about certain kinds of bugs being down there and spiders as well. And it was awful. And so Point Pest Control came in November of a couple years ago and made it so that we have not had a single complaint in our house. Scout's Honor. because Point Pest Control has taken care of that problem for us. If you are looking for a quarterly service to subscribe to, make sure you mention Annie when you call this number I'm about to give you, because you're going to get an additional 10% savings. If you need termites, you don't need termites. If you need to get rid of termites, or if you're questioning some damage you see right now as if it might be termites, you can reach out to Point Pest Control. They can also help you with ant problems as well. 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, online at pointpestcontrol.com.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. It's what I would put in my home. It's what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's election season, and you need the facts before you vote. Mark Cox here. Get my April 2024 Voters Guide, your go-to source for key races, candidates, and issues. Download it at 971talk.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Soccer game still on, Ryan Wiggins?
So far. I keep checking, too, and it's still happening. I don't want to stand in rain and wait to play soccer. I won't even be playing. I'll be sitting and watching.
My brother played YMCA soccer for, I don't know. In my mind, it was like forever. I never did soccer. Did other, like, youth baseball sports or softball, whatever. But he signed up for soccer, and I swear, every single day that we had to go watch soccer, it was 8 a.m. and 50 degrees and windy and rainy.
Yeah,
Miserable.
That sounds about right.
And I just thought to myself, who in their right mind would want to do this? And when my brother would do it, what do you call it? Offsides? What do you call it? Like, you can't goaltend. What's that called in soccer?
It's offside.
It's just offsides?
Yeah.
I guess they didn't have that rule in the 90s, but I remember...
Or they might have been young enough that they didn't have it at that age.
My brother would just stand down by the goal.
Yeah, that was definitely young enough.
Yeah.
Offside.
And he'd have like 7 goals a game. They just get the ball, kick it down to my brother, and he'd score and feel like $1 million.
That's great. That's also called cherry picking.
Yes, that's what I remember. I actually know the cherry picking phrase more than the technical terms.
Yeah.
I remember one time my mom being like, I kind of feel bad that he's doing it, but that's what his coach, I guess, told him to do.
It's funny at the younger ages of really any sport, it's really just kind of what the kid can get away with. Because they don't really call the sport according to the real rules of the sport yet. And I remember when my kid started playing soccer, when he was in, peewee soccer or whatever, very, very young, he would throw the ball in to himself. And you definitely can't do that, but nobody calls it when you're little. And he would just throw it in, go dribble it right down and score because nobody would stop him.
Because nobody had seen that before.
Yeah, you can't do that. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, man. I have my entire life had such a viscerally negative reaction to soccer because in my mind it only exists in the worst weather conditions.
Here's a weird thing. I feel the same thing about float trips.
Like you're just signing up for social misery.
When I was 3 years old, it's one of my earliest memories. My parents were still young and cool. They were taking float trips with their buddies.
Are they now?
No.
What are they? Just cool?
They're older.
They're still cool?
No.
What?
Sorry. Look, listen, Mom and Dad, if you're listening, go on a float trip. I'll say you're cool again. But they were wanting to hang out with their friends, drink a bunch of Busch Light, and float down a river with their 3-year-old son. I was on that trip, and I did not want to be because it just was cold and rainy, and I just cried all day.
How many did you go on?
That's the only one I went on until after college. And then I went on another one, and it did the same thing, and I did the same thing. I just cried in my friend James's arms.
Because you were wasted.
All day.
Speaking of the YouTube live chat poll, is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? I think speaking of float trips, that might be a natural first time for us to mention this poll. Yes, only medicinally, or no. And even when I put only medicinally, I'm like, well, that's broad. How people could, I need it for my mental health. Maybe you do. If you're using it to manage anxiety, whatever. We had this conversation earlier on the show last Friday, and then I think it bled into this week a little bit. And the question was, is it okay? It's legal to do it in both Missouri and Illinois now, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You can't get away from it. It blows my mind that you can be driving down the highway and be like, oh, that car's bacon. It's very frustrating to come into contact with, but many people are doing it. It's a legal activity. Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? Yes, but only medicinally, or no. If you go to the Annie-Fry YouTube channel right now, the live chat poll is only available while the live chat is going, and the live chat is only available while the live show is going. So you need to go over there right now and get to it. I said I was going to talk about something at a little bit later in the show, and that's going to be now, and it's surrounding the conversation about tariffs. And I think it's key to be paying attention to how wide of a reset Donald Trump is attempting on American society. I want to play here a clip from Charles Payne, and I love the way he says things. He just has a different way of delivering the message with a little extra energy.
And Sean Payne recognizes what so many auto workers recognize.
That's not the right video. I'll find it here. But paying attention to Trump's resolve when it comes to this issue and making sure that you understand how confident he is. A lot of people go, oh, the stock market is panicking. The stock market is, dipping. What did you say? You listed several things that we're not doing great right now before the show. You said oil was down.
Oh, well, not doing great is subjective because oil is way down.
Correct.
Which is great.
Which means energy goes down.
Yes.
The full breadth of the reset that we're about to witness here in this country, I think there's something even more important than all the economic benefits that are coming. And I'm going to talk to you about that here in a second. Here's Charles.
President Trump ran on tariffs. What we just saw was a president who did what he said he was going to do. Every single day, the media said Trump is running on tariffs, and people said, we know that. Trump is running on bringing back manufacturing. People said, we know that. And they went and pulled the lever for him. This is mind-boggling to me that the media is focused on pain. Listen to me. I heard someone earlier today on another network say that countries send us wine, cheese, and Mercedes, and we give them a piece of paper, as if we're getting the better end of the bargain. People sweat. They work hard. They sacrifice families. Families are broken up. People commit crimes for this piece of paper. It represents an investment, our life, our energy. It represents a lot. So we send it over there. We get all this plastic crap on this table. You know how that money comes back to this country? They buy this building. They buy our farms. Mm-hmm. This system is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. We have to figure it out. So if the American people can make a short-term, hey, that beach ball costs 50 cents more, I won't buy it. This is what's really amazing to me. And unfortunately, I hear it on all our network and a lot of networks that somehow We all want a good GDP. We all want a good economy. But does it have to come at the expense? Is it patriotic to always stay in debt? Is it patriotic to spend my entire paycheck so that the economy is good? Is it patriotic so my kids can't afford to go to college? I don't have a retirement. I don't have a decent home. Is that patriotic? Is our patriotism tied to Wall Street? Or should it be tied to our own personal ability to achieve the American dream?
When jobs come back to the United States, and you know about this, you pay attention to this stuff economically more than I do, Ryan, but the job growth under Joe Biden, how much of that was government jobs?
I think it was 100%. I think it was literally 100% of the job growth. It was close.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Because all of that is a higher burden on the taxpayer.
Well, it depends on when you start, because he took over and then COVID kind of everybody came back out of COVID. Mm-hmm. He took credit for that. But if you don't take credit for jobs that already exist.
Yeah, we're talking about realistic here.
Yeah.
Yeah. His funny math, so to speak. We're talking about real job additions. They celebrated government jobs over and over and over again. Well, that's a higher burden on the American taxpayer. All of those jobs are funded by the American taxpayer, but not the American taxpayer working right now because we don't have any money. $37 trillion in debt, and we're growing government, and then we're using it to brag in conjunction with putting people back to business after you shut them down and out of a working lifestyle during COVID. We do not have a society that values work. We have a society that values things, consumerism. But you don't get to participate in consumerism if you don't work. And the thought of, how many times a day do the three of us come across articles that are like, Gen Z is quiet quitting, or Gen Z is going into early retirement, but only temporarily. Like all of this stuff that circles around mental health and taking breaks on whose dime and whose dollar. And okay, I understand it. If you come out of college and you've got a good job and you don't have any extra obligations financially, and you have the ability to take 6 months off of work and go travel Europe. Okay, that's fine. But if you're not making money and saving money for your retirement come the time you turn probably 70 years old, don't go bitching about Social Security and government not giving you enough to keep up with the cost of living when you decided to take a bunch of breaks during your 20s when you should have been putting every ounce of energy you have into building a career that you want, that you're proud of, not being a slave to the man, not being a slave to work, but building a family that you use your job to support. You don't want to use it kind of blows my mind to look at this newer generation and the way that they talk about, mental health. And not that these are all the same conversations, but the intersection of them is quite interesting. The need for mental health breaks that involve quitting your job and traveling the world while you're young, while you're not starting a family, because for women, it's not empowering to start a family. You'll have to put all your hopes and dreams on hold. You need to have a career and invest in yourself and have some me time. You're going to have me time, I assume, when you're retired and your family comes to visit you, when you decide that your family comes to visit you or you want to let them back in. When you soak up all of this me time in your 20s, and in your 30s, you are missing the opportunity to do something that is truly great, which is to find someone that you love and spend the rest of your life with them. Maybe even start a family, but build something that's bigger than yourself. It's not lost on me that some of the biggest leading voices that are super angry, at least in my perception, are these 40, 50, 60-year-old women who have been flexing their feminist, postmodern feminist muscles for the entirety of their life because that's what they've been told to do, and they bought into it. And now you get to be 50, 60 or whatever, and you've got what you've always wanted, just you. And you've amassed a bunch of money. For what? I think to myself, not just every day, it could be even hourly, about when my kids are no longer in my home. I think about the time that I have with my children to raise them to be independent, self-reliant citizens of this country that want to come back and visit their mom and their dad, that want to be back at home, that want to be around family. Like, how do I push them to become independent? You know, somebody who wants to have success to the point where the success that they will end up pursuing will provide for them and hopefully a family one day. I never, ever, ever think about my kids and their future and their happiness, which, like, seriously, Ryan, when you think about your children being adults, like, isn't the thing that you want is for them to be happy? I mean,
yes.
That's the end goal.
Yes.
Successful.
Fulfilled.
And by fulfilled, you'd be happy. But boy, nobody can define that for another person. And I'm just thinking to myself, at the end of the day, if you are as financially successful, more financially successful than you could ever have dreamed of, at some point, isn't it just excess? At some point, isn't it just a tangible thing that you can hold? But if you can't hand it to someone or share it with somebody, what is the point of all of that? And I see women in social media in their mid-30s, maybe even early 30s, but somewhere around mid to late 30s, lamenting the crop of men that are out there to choose from, that they want to partner up with. The whole idea of women and, like, whether or not you can have it all, like, what is it all? Because if you're thinking it all is having a family, which means a spouse and maybe kids and a successful career, like, what defines that? Because if you're quantifying it by a dollar amount, if you're having a family, there's no dollar amount that all of a sudden makes it like, oh, we're good now. That doesn't happen. Unpredictable things occur. They cost a lot of money. Ryan, you can speak on your own here for a second, but I've never incurred a great financial burden, and we've had a few that hit you out of nowhere and been like, God, we shouldn't have had these kids.
No, that'll never happen. In fact, people, when we were thinking about having kids, told us that. They go, quit waiting for the right time. You'll never find the right time. Just do it. So we did it.
When Donald Trump talks about bringing jobs back, and we see, I know there are a few anecdotes out there. I think New Mexico, Indiana are two off the top of my head, but we've seen investments that Taiwan has made in our country with some chips, I think it was. Just things that have come up over the course of time here in the last couple months. When we think about investing in our country, before we get to the point where, gosh, my 401k is killing it. You know what I want more for my future than my 401k to be something I can brag about? I want my kids to grow up in a culture where work and independence from the necessary subsidy that we have pushed as a society about your victimhood and how your victimhood makes you higher. Your hierarchy of where you exist in society is based on all the boxes you can check of all of the oppressed groups that we have in our country right now. I want that to go away. I want to live in a society where we truly identify the people who need the hand up and we can give it to them because we have prioritized the right things like hard work and families. And honestly, when I think about what Donald Trump says that this tariff implementation is going to do, the one thing that I think isn't being talked about as much as it should be is that understanding that when jobs start coming back here and towns and cities, I'll point out Granite City right now, driving through the steel mill in Granite City, I went there the last time Donald Trump was in town and they had just lit a new furnace. That city depends on those furnaces burning. When you invigorate a town or a community and you light up a furnace, you start the factory working again and jobs are provided. I was just thinking about the other day I was driving down, I was going to STS Armory down 111, and there's a bunch of Amazon buildings out there, a bunch of fulfillment places. I apologize that I don't know the name of the place. I don't know if you guys ever go down there in that area, but there is like an Italian pizza pasta sandwich place. And it's right across from one of the places where you can go like pick stuff up from Amazon.
On 255?
111.
Oh, well,
off of 250. Well, off of 270 actually. It's like
picture
across the McDonald's. There's some hotels there or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I know what
I
you're
don't
talking
know
about.
what maybe I can Google it in the break or whatever, but it's just brand new.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
looking
about.
restaurant, and it looks fun. I've never gone, but we were driving past there, and I said to Jensen, I go, Jensen, you know what that restaurant there is? She's like, it's an Italian restaurant. I'm like, no, I want to explain something to you. I said, all of these buildings around here did not exist when I was growing up, and I grew up very close to there. So these buildings did not exist. All of the people who are coming to work here need to eat lunch. And those people who started that restaurant said, I'll feed them lunch. And I said, now there's more jobs that are created at this little restaurant. There are people who are going to go there with their friends while they're at work at Amazon or whatever other buildings are around there. I said that restaurant would not be there if these Amazon buildings and these fulfillment centers weren't here. That restaurant exists because these jobs were put here and people came here to work and they need to eat lunch. And I said, it's kind of a very simple thing to be like, well, when you got a lot of people here, people need to eat lunch. Well, guess what they also have to do? They probably have to ship, maybe, I don't know if like you ship documents through UPS or whatever, but maybe you need a shipping place. Maybe you need a tire store. There's a ton of those.
Gas stations.
You probably want a bank right there. Gas stations, other restaurants to compete. Firearms at STS Armory.
Well, that stuff is all there, and that's one of the only growing parts of Granite City is because it's close to all those warehouses.
And they're building on the other side, on the west side of 111. They're digging up a storm over there, and I only assume that they're putting in more fulfillment centers, but they're jobs. When jobs come back to the United States, you start to be able to contribute in a way that maybe you haven't before. When workers become a commodity, then businesses have to offer better benefits, better pay for those workers to make sure that the good workers come over to that business. If you're getting better pay, if you're getting better benefits, then you can provide for your family more and not have to rely on subsidies. Or if you weren't relying on subsidies before, you can provide for your family more and you can spend more money in the economy, like at the new restaurant that's right around the corner because they have great Italian food. And now you're providing jobs for those people. You're providing income for those people. And it goes around and around and around. Donald Trump is bringing back pride to the American worker, and he's doing it with the unions. He's doing it with manufacturers, with auto workers. He's doing it with a coalition of people that are not usually sitting at events for Republican presidents to cheer on economic moves. It's kind of an old-fashioned blue-collar kind of moment, but I think culturally, when people start taking pride in themselves instead of shrouding themselves in some sort of appropriated victimhood that doesn't really exist until someone sells you the virtue on trying to share it with everybody. When we start taking American pride in American work and in American success, I think that there's no way that we don't have a golden age. But like I said before, I hope it works. It's just at the end of the day,
what you're describing is the American dream.
Yes.
And it's been stagnated.
Hasn't the MO of the Democratic Party been that this is an American nightmare? That everything we are, everything we've come from, everything we've been, you should be ashamed of yourself. And for Donald Trump to come in and be like, oh, make America great again, he means it. He means it. Like, the nightmare is over. We are going to make America great again. And you're exactly right, Ryan. The American dream is being put back within reach for people who do want good jobs, good, reliable, middle-class jobs that can provide you an income that can afford a middle-class lifestyle.
And a lot of those things apply to everybody in the world, but some of those things are uniquely American. The make your own way, pioneering, rugged individualism of I can do this and I can do this on my own. You know, in a lot of ways, that is the American way. And we don't do that anymore. We have gotten away from what it takes to say, no, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, go after it, chase your dreams, you can catch them here.
That part of it has me very excited. Let's take a quick break. The YouTube live chat poll, is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? I had to ask somebody ahead of time. Is that the right way to say those words? I didn't even know. There's a lot of different products out there, but do you think that there's a moral question to it? Annie Fry YouTube channel, live chat poll. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Did you know you can call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation right now at 314-513-0091 and get a free second opinion on heat exchanger or compressor repairs for those commercial repairs that you might be needing to have. If your HVAC system is on the fritz, if it's not blowing cool air the way it's supposed to be, and we've had a few days here where you might have had the AC blowing, you realize, gosh, this is not it. You got to run it too much. You got to pay for the energy to continue to run, and it's not doing the job of cooling the home. Get that free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repair when you reach out to Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. They are the 10-time recipient of Carrier's President's Award. They're named a top workplace by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for the third year in a row. Thousands of 5-star reviews. Just don't take my word for it. You can research it yourself. But if you do, I am a customer of Air Comfort Service. You'll be very glad you reached out to them. 314-513-0091. aircomfortservice.com.
You never got a sense of how big the community was until we all pour into this auditorium. 4,000 or 5,000 people. We're all here for the same reason. Real estate investing, you're living the lifestyle.
That's April on her Expo experience. It's coming again. Join Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited for Expo 2025, May 7th through the 10th in Irving, Texas. Get hands-on training from successful real estate investors and learn proven strategies that work. Find out more and save $100 when you text Expo to 88007, EXPO to 88007.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio every Saturday at 2, right here on 97.1 FM Talk, and you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at GSLHonorFlight.org. And for HVAC services, visit AirComfortService.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Friday afternoon, it's another Fish Fry Friday broadcast. We are at St. Mary Magdalene in Brentwood. Come see us. It all starts at 3.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. Right here on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Next question. It's a legitimate question.
Next question.
Next question, please.
Next question on the Annie Fry Show.
Okay, ask us anything in the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We love answering your questions. We always have a few of our own. But if you throw some in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat, we might feature them and answer them before the end of the 2 o'clock hour. Ryan, next question. You first.
Is there a food that you eat almost exclusively before bed?
What's yours, Ryan? You know that you have one.
Yeah, of course I do. But do you have a food that you're like, before bed, I always eat this thing?
No, I try not to eat before bed.
Lately, 2 weeks from now, every night, I have to have a peanut butter jelly sandwich before bed.
That's like the most old man thing in the world.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Really? I thought that was a little kid thing.
Do you make your woman... It's both, really. Do you make your woman make it for you?
Oh, no. I don't make her make it for me. I make it, and I load it up. I mean, I like a lot
What's
of jelly.
What's the peanut butter to jelly ratio?
It's 50-50, but...
Would you let
it's
your...
a
Let me
lot
ask you this question.
It's a heavy dose
Would
of 50-50.
you, father of 3 children, let your kids make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for themselves the way you make and eat for yourself?
No. But they go too far the other way. Whenever they make, once in a while, say, okay, you guys do lunch, and they almost always do peanut butter and jelly when I do that. They always put just like a little bit of peanut butter
sandwich.
on there and a little bit of jelly. I'm like,
If it's
you got
their sandwich, why does it matter?
Because they're just eating bread. I want them to eat something.
Peanut butter and jelly is just loaded with sugar.
Yes, but at least the peanut butter has a little bit of protein. Otherwise, you're just eating carbs. So if you're going to eat the crap sandwich...
I don't think eat it like you eat it. But you said it's too much. Is it gluttonous?
It's a little much, yeah. I like it heavy and thick. But man, I can't stop eating those things right now. It's not just before bed that I would like to eat them.
What spurred this?
I think that I started making them for the kids for lunch and then realized that looks pretty dang good. And
I want one of those.
I just became a nighttime thing for me now.
I try to drink like an 8-ounce cup of water. Like make myself do it.
That is so healthy.
I don't like doing it, if that makes you feel better.
It does make me feel better.
Brad? Nighttime snack?
So it usually, like, I don't have a singular nighttime snack, but I have a singular ingredient that it usually has. This is a tortilla. So sometimes I'll make like
See?
So I'll make like a wrap with cheese and, ham or something like that, or I'll make a wrap with the
Like right before bed?
Yeah.
Doesn't that...
But it's a small one.
Doesn't that make you have funny dreams or something like that? Or you have sweet dreams, I guess, because of the jelly.
Yeah. As I make it, I sing that. Sweet dreams are made of cheese.
Oh, okay. That's his song.
I don't have dreams.
He doesn't have dreams. Not since you started working with him.
Okay, I'm gonna. Next question. I am gonna ask you: Do you dream, or do you ever have any recollection of dreams that you have, recurring dreams or anything like that? I am an avid, descriptive, vivid dreamer.
Huh? It's just like I said, Brad. She dreams in color. She dreams in red.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay. Somebody got it. Can't find a better man.
Dreams in color, she dreams in red. I have to. I mean, to the point where it could be. I usually have from the time I wake up and get up for the day. I usually have maybe 3 to 4 hours where I'm not around people, and it might take me encountering people to realize, oh, that didn't happen. That was just a dream.
Wow, that's pretty vivid.
It's super vivid. It's super obnoxious.
Seems like the older I get, the less I dream. Or the less I care to remember them.
This is literal, right?
Maybe I am actually still dreaming. I just don't care anymore. But it is, I still dream because once in a while, I'll have those moments where it's usually you guys or my wife, because I'm around you all the most, that somebody will say something.
You guys or your wife.
That will trigger, oh, I had a dream about that. Because it's not immediate.
You dream about bread?
I would say I dream about Brad the most.
Doesn't everyone?
Mm-hmm. It's got a soundtrack, too.
What?
Yeah, Careless Whisper. Just like earlier. That's why I was feeling a little weird.
I can leave if you need a minute.
He's just fixing trucks and stuff. Wiping his brow. It's just manly stuff, Annie, that he's doing. Fixing trucks.
Can you think of any other manly things? You just keep
tires.
saying fixing trucks.
I mean,
throwing tires.
He does things with... I mean, gosh, he's doing all kinds of stuff with trucks and fixing them.
Good thing there's music.
He comes out from under a car, got grease all over his face.
Baywatch themes play. Do you dream? You said you don't dream at all, Brad?
I do dream. I don't dream every night. But when I do, it's vivid. I remember it. I wake up. I remember everything about it. And the weird thing for me is
the Dos Equis of dreamers.
It's the Dos Equis. Dos Equis.
I don't always dream, but when I do.
I remember them, and I usually will realize that I'm dreaming in the dream.
Brian says nothing sexier than peanut butter breath right before bedtime.
I'm not trying to impress you, Brian.
Are you trying to impress anybody?
My wife loves peanut butter breath. I don't know if that's actually true.
Next question. Next question, Brad.
Next question. Brad.
What old person things do you do?
All of them. I'm a big fan of old person things. Used to have old people chairs, but we just replaced our recliners upstairs with a couch because we now have 6 individual people that need their own seats in our living room, so we had to upgrade. Plus, the other ones fell apart. I don't know. I'm pretty lame, so I think I do a lot of old people things. No offense, old people.
I do boring stuff like watch my diet a little bit. Not even that much, but
I don't think you're in old person territory yet.
No?
No, you'll have more prescriptions before you have to do that.
I got plenty of prescriptions. That's one thing I do. Take a ton of pills.
I was going to say, I take a ton of pills in the morning.
And at night, and throughout the day.
Do you have one of those Monday through Friday pills separated?
No, absolutely not.
I watch a ton of news, like, by choice. That's a total old person thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a tough time walking for the first 3 steps after I stand up. Does that count? That's an old person
So you
thing.
kind of have to like ease into walking, and
there
then
we go.
You do the mid-40s thing where after you've eased into it, you kind of do a 2 or 3 quick steps, like you're jogging, like I'm back in the game.
Yeah, yeah. And then I stop and I turn around and I look at the cameras and I smile.
Okay.
Just like our former president.
Brad?
I think that my oldest person thing that I do is I have an unhealthy obsession with making sure that I have a really immaculate lawn, and then I don't like it whenever kids walk by and just throw trash in my yard.
Yeah, well, who does
I'm
like
just gonna
that?
say,
I don't know.
Yeah,
man, it seems
yeah, those old people get really mad when people litter in their yard.
like have you ever saw a dog like the person lets the dog use your yard when they're walking it, and you're like,
There's only 2 sides to that. Either you are old and you hate when people throw trash in your yard, or you are young and you throw trash in people's yards. That's it. It's the only 2
and
options.
I shake my fist at them. Hey!
You know what you should do to feel younger is grab the trash and go throw it in your neighbor's lawn.
Follow them.
Yeah.
When they go. There you
Feel
go.
young.
Boyd on YouTube says Rosati's in Pontoon Beach is the restaurant we were talking about. So somebody go to Rosati's and let us know how it is. Maybe we'll come visit.
Yeah.
It looks fun.
And bring some pizza.
Bobo says, what is a habit of yours you wish you could overcome?
Ooh.
Oh, I've got one.
Okay.
Chewing fingernails. I
Ew.
bite my fingernails, and I wish that I could stop.
Ryan?
I am addicted to Sister
butter.
Act 2.
Shut up. Stop it.
Speaking of habits.
What are you talking about? Knock it off.
He's back in the habit.
Yep. That's my bad
answer
one.
the real question.
I don't know. Still thinking.
Your joke wasn't funny enough to skip answering the question. Denied.
I need to come up with. I need to have more problems because right now, I pretty much got life figured out. You know what I need to get over is this cystic fibrosis.
Ryan, that's not funny either.
It's true.
CF isn't a habit.
Well, I lost sight of the question. I'm really reaching for a bad
Ryan,
habit.
you literally can't think of a single habit that you would like to break.
I almost got addicted to video poker over the weekend.
No, Ryan, you are belittling actual addiction by inflaming the fact that you spent $40. No, you spent
I did spend
$20
but I won
change.
80.
Yes, and you're like, it was a close one.
Yeah, I had to walk away.
Woo.
Hashtag walk away. I don't know. I'll try to come up with one.
I wish that I always say if I could change 2 things about myself, and I don't know if this is exactly the same as this question. I wish I was obsessed with running, and I wish I was a morning person. I wish I would get out of bed at like 6 a.m. and just get up and go for a run or even a walk. My husband walks the dog in the morning. I'm jealous of that. Not enough to do it. But I wish that I could break the habit of wanting to stay in my bed as long as possible.
Okay, I wish that I cared more about cleaning.
You're a slob.
I am a bit of a slob.
Are you?
Yeah. I know
There you
where
go.
everything is, but it's all over the place.
So you're saying the house is a mess, but you know that your favorite jeans are laying on the floor in the living room behind the couch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the crazy thing, is that my work ethic has just gotten better and better and better, and it has not kept up with kids.
Do you have ADD?
No, not at all.
Kind of sounds like it.
No, I do clean way more than I ever have.
No, that's OCD.
But I can't keep up with the messes that my children make.
Oh, it's the worst. Every day I come home and I'm like, what happened while I was gone?
Yeah.
It's like an explosion. I totally
And they
understand
just
it.
can't believe how often I have to ask them to clean.
And I haven't, they're so offended. It's
Yeah.
like, it's your stuff.
This is all yours.
I haven't looked at the chat yet. But inevitably someone will say, one day it'll all be gone.
Don't say that. We know.
We know, but
We
it's
know it'll
still
all
a
be gone.
mess. It's
Yeah.
awful. There's so much laundry. No more clothes in my house. Eliminate the clothes, and you eliminate the laundry. More next question when we come back after this. Don't go away.
I really wanna see you. Really wanna be with you. Really wanna see
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
I can't really stress enough any more than if you just turned on the news today why it's important to reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group and start a conversation with them about your retirement. 314-993-9494. It's not too late. You can call them right now and schedule a free sit-down conversation. You want to make sure that you don't have to panic when the stock market looks like it looks right now. You need to make sure that market volatility doesn't dictate your mood throughout the day, that retirement is something you can rely on and you know what to expect from it. And you need the Retirement Advisory Group to talk to you about how they can help ensure that that peaceful retirement is attainable for you. 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494. Exhale after you have that conversation with the Retirement Advisory Group and they show you how you can protect yourself even in moments like this. You can find everything else you need to know online by visiting the Retirement Advisory Group at retirementkey.com.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million or $1 million feel like $2 million? You could. But the key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. It's Sue Thomas. And if you want to discover how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement, try this 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. It's a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. They are held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you have saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. I expect a heavy turnout for this question, and I would like to know the answer. What does our audience think about this? Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? YouTube live chat poll, you find it by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. And, of course, today's date will come up. You click on that. You can watch the live stream and vote there and comment. 149. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The History of the Lou with Sue.
For a fascinating journey through the storied past of St. Louis. Don't miss out on discovering remarkable tales that make our city such a unique place.
The History of the Lou with Sue.
Sundays at 6 p.m. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're going to start with Ender's question here. Do you have any investments in the stock market? If so, how much? A lot, some, or a little? I do. And, if it says investments in the stock market, like I have a 401k and stuff like that. But, like, actual intentional purchases of certain stocks, yes. And I would say I probably have what is determined to be a little.
Yeah, me too. I'm not deep into the stock market. We've got, a couple of IRAs from jobs and stuff. It's nothing big. So, it's probably important to note that when we talk about the economy, because I understand if you're really close to retirement or you've just retired or something, you're watching the market right now because it affects your life right now.
That's why you should partner with the Retirement Advisor Group because they hook you up so you don't have to freak out about it.
Yeah.
What about you, Brad?
I don't have any individual stocks. I'm actually thinking about buying some now that the market is going down and it's a good time to get in whenever it's at a low point. So, but like you guys, mutual funds, IRAs, 401ks, those sorts of things. I've got those, but nothing individual. So a little. Next question.
Next question. Do you ever get a song? Is there a particular song, I should ask, that gets stuck in your head often?
Yeah, that dumb one that you were singing the other day in the studio, and I got mad because I kind of put it there.
Oh, which one was it? Was it the Baywatch theme song?
No, we had to look up what that sounded like.
Or was it the 90210?
We had to look that one up, too.
What was the stupid protest song?
Yeah, which side are you on?
Oh, which side are you on? No, it's the other one.
Whose side are you on?
No.
That was the one you were singing, though.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, yeah. I could probably find it.
We shouldn't do it because then it's going to get stuck in my darn head again.
I'll just take a look.
I only get stupid stuff like that. Like, not like good songs. It's just like jingles or stupid songs that you watch on a reel or something like that, and then it gets stuck in your head, and it's no bueno. Are you pulling up the remix?
I'm looking for it. I know it's at my desk, but I don't know if I have it here.
Oh, man. You're right with the reels and the shorts and stuff like that, if they play it on there. So, man, I don't even know what they're called. They just pop up.
Sometimes I get the Wellerman song in my head because I watch so much of the deep ocean. What's that, Strait or something, the Pass? There's some really freaky, scary place in the ocean. It's got super crazy waves. And it's just like, yo.
Drake's Pass.
All together. Do you know what these videos are?
No clue.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna send you one right now.
Yo ho, yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
No, not that one. I like that one though. No, I'm gonna send it to you. You gotta know the super low, deep bass choir that sings the song, and it just makes you feel like you're in the depths of the ocean and gonna die the longest, scariest death.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know what it was called, but
it's called the Wellerman, isn't it? Or is that something different?
No, the Wellerman is
Hoist the Colors.
Yeah, that's it.
The Wellerman is a jig.
A shanty.
A shanty, whatever. Next question, Brad.
Oh, I just closed it. Have you ever won a contest or a giveaway? And if so, what did you win?
Yes, I have. Ryan?
Well, last year my son got second in the NCAA bracket.
What's that have to do with you?
Well, I can't think of anything that I've won recently or a contest.
If your son were here, he could say that.
You want me to call him?
Yeah. It's not busy. Hey, son, I need to talk.
Let me call my wife at work and say, go track down our son so he can brag about
You never won a contest or anything? You won $80 last week. When you were in the throes of gambling addiction.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess I did pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and bank on that.
Never won a contest or anything? Never entered a contest and won it?
Okay, in 3rd grade,
this counts.
I won the District 10, the whole district, not just my school, the District 10 handwriting contest.
That's
amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Did they throw you a ceremony?
You know how I found out later? You know how I found out I won? Is that, well, I mean, they chose, there was this massive room. When you're a kid, I'm sure the room seemed bigger than it was, but it was a big room full of kids who had entered to be the handwriting champion of District 10, whatever. And I'm like, why am I here? I don't know what I'm doing here. Because if you see my handwriting now,
I'm
it's
going to ask
terrible.
you a question. This is not in jest at all. You told a story one time on the air that you thought you were awarded something or maybe you won something, and you thought it was because you were the CF kid.
Yeah, that's true, but that's not this.
That's something else?
That was like a physical education award. I was like, I think they gave me the Overcomer Award because of CF. I'm sure they did,
You don't,
in fact.
You do?
I'm
You're
sure
positive?
they did, yes.
That's kind of what I... Not because it's a CF, but
Yeah.
like when you guys can vouch for this, but when I won my first Gracie, I'm like, did anybody else enter? I just was not certain that I had won it based on a crowd of people. What about you, Brad?
Two things. When I was in 3rd grade, I won the geography bee for the schools in Millstadt. But the other cool thing that I won was a year's supply of Dr. Pepper. And
what?
I won that out. Yeah, I won that out.
Elevated in Ryan's opinion.
I won that out of one of those,
vending machines.
No, pull it out of the box.
You got a year's
things.
supply of KFC downstairs.
That's true.
Oh, that's true, but I didn't win that. I went and stood in line and waited for that. I
Kevin-
earned that with Bo Matthews.
Bo Matthews.
I've told the story before, but when I was maybe 2, my mom had given me a bath. It was springtime, and I got out of the bathtub in my birthday suit, which is what happens when you're in the bathtub and you're 2. And I went outside. Now, I grew up kind of in the country, and went outside, and it had been raining. And so, naturally, when I went outside, I took an umbrella with me to shield my naked body from the rain. And I was standing out in the backyard at my parents' house, and I had the umbrella up, but I was a buck naked little 2-year-old, so you could just see my butt cheeks standing there. And my dad snapped a picture of it and submitted it to a Kodak photo contest. And the way I understand it is it won a series of contests that if like you'd win a contest and then you'd get entered to the next thing, and it ended up being on display in Epcot.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. And it's like the Alton Telegraph put it on the front cover of the newspaper. And there's like a 5x7 color photo of my bare buns and an umbrella at 2 years old. Reminder. And it's an award-winning butt. So
The same thing happened a few years ago, though,
So you know.
and it was Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. I did not win the award, though. I just made the magazine. The really hot girls won the award. I was a man, a grown man.
That's when he was a man. All right. Thank you for listening. Thanks for playing Next Question. We'll be back for the 2 o'clock hour of the Annie Fry Show right around here in a second. The YouTube live chat poll, we're going to talk about that coming up next. Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? Let's see here. We have 225 votes. Let's get to 250 by the 2 o'clock hour, and maybe we'll take some of your phone calls on this as well. Yes, you think it's morally acceptable. No, you don't think it is. Or yes, but only medicinally. We'll be right back.
MLB.tv is home to baseball's biggest stars. Watch every out-of-market game, live or on demand.
This is unbelievable.
Plus, you'll get 24/7 access to MLB Network. Stream every big pitch,
He struck him out.
every home run,
Gone.
everything baseball, all season long on MLB.tv. Start a free trial today. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-969-7766. That's 800-969-7766.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health From Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health From Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill, or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. A new low on Wall Street. I'm Lisa Brady. The Dow dropping more than 2,000 points, an hour to the close, on a second day of tariff-driven fear and selling. The Trump administration emphasizing the bigger picture.
The president rightly has concluded that the current status of global trade is bad for America and good for a bunch of other people, and he's going to reset it.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as the president focuses on possible deals.
He's signaling that he is open to rethinking some of these tariffs, including those on Vietnam. We have read the stories recently that the Vietnam tariffs specifically could have a huge impact on the bottom lines of companies like Nike and Lululemon. Now, President Trump is saying just had a very productive call with To Lam, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam, who told me that Vietnam wants to cut their tariffs down to 0 if they are able to make an agreement with the U.S. I thanked him on behalf of our country and said I look forward to a meeting in the near future.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. Today's stock plunged, fueled in part by China's retaliation, a 34% tariff on U.S. goods. The president says great power to negotiate comes with tariffs, and he has suggested that could help win China's approval for a TikTok sale. For now, he's buying more time to work on a deal for American ownership.
President Trump is signing an executive order extending the timeline for TikTok to find a new owner for another 75 days. The social media and video app faced a Saturday deadline to divest from its owner ByteDance, a Chinese company, or be banned in the U.S. The president says a deal requires more work to ensure all necessary approvals are signed and says his administration will continue working in good faith with China. Several potential suitors have emerged, including Oracle and Amazon.
Fox's Jared Halpern picking through rubble in Tennessee.
It's heartbreaking to watch. It's hard to take in.
Governor Bill Lee, as parts of the South and Midwest brace for more storms. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Periods of rain as we go through our Friday afternoon. 63, but it's going to seem colder than that. Heavy rain at times tonight, 51. Saturday, periods of rain, mainly a light rain on Saturday, a chilly 55. Sunday, rain ends by noon, but there could be some wet snowflakes around Sunday morning. Partly sunny going through Sunday afternoon, but chilly and raw, 49. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, Millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, you need to be a member of the Range St. Louis West. Mark Cox here. You know, they get free lanes and free firearm rentals, 5% off firearms and suppressors, 10% off accessories, and 15% off classes. The new benefit on Sundays from 10 to noon, the lanes are for members only. And in April, you get 2 free basic cleanings of a modern firearm. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
97.1 FM Talk presents Talk in Action, where we shine a spotlight on local charities making a difference in our community. Join us as we give back and connect neighbors in need. Visit 971talk.com/talkinaction to learn more.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
They got someone here knows what they're talking about.
Let's up, let's ride. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take some time to get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Now do that intro with that oatmeal cream pie in your mouth. Are you good?
I'm not America's sweetheart.
You ate half of that oatmeal cream pie in that last bite.
I ate the whole oatmeal cream pie in 1 minute.
I am
probably during the intro.
Not as impressed as you are, but
Ooh, you
was it a double
Get
decker?
ready, because there's a whole bunch of people going to write in about how they were impressed. No, that was a regular. It was a large regular. It wasn't a single small one, but it was an oversized non-double
Way
decker.
more information than I expected. Gosh, I wanna.
As opposed to an upper decker.
Let's not.
No.
And say we did.
No.
Been there, done that. Not going back. There is a press release from the Arlington Heights Police Department. Arlington Heights being northeastern, around. It's like a suburb of Chicago. If you're not familiar with it, and I want to read this to you and get your guys' thoughts on this. The Arlington Heights Police Department is providing important information to community members about an online live-action game called Senior Assassin. Have either of you heard of this?
No. I have heard of this.
This game is played by high school students throughout the country, including here in Arlington Heights. It begins in early spring in conjunction with senior graduation activities. Participants attempt to forego match elimination by squirting other players with a water gun. The last person remaining wins. Game rules specify the activity cannot take place during school hours or on school property. Players attempt to locate their opponents at various sites, which can include home, local parks, and other gathering spaces within the community. Students will often hide in odd spots, chase targets through yards, and appear suddenly in a vehicle or on foot. The Arlington Heights Police Department does not condone or support cited objectives in this game. I think it's a funny way of saying we don't love this. The concept is not against the law or a local ordinance. We ask everyone to play safely, use common sense, and recognize how players' actions may be perceived by members of the community. The unintentional result of participants running throughout the community with a water gun, some often resembling a look-alike firearm, could have deadly consequences. The state of Illinois has increasing numbers of individuals who possess a conceal and carry license. The and an ability to carry a concealed firearm in public for self-defense. We are alerting residents that this springtime game has begun. The police department received several calls last year as the game began, and one inquiry already this year regarding suspicious activity that was later tied to Senior Assassin. One such call resulted in significant police response based on a homeowner reporting a, quote, man with a gun running through their residential yard. This year, the village was asked about someone with a gun at an intersection that was near 2 elementary schools and a park. These incidents were found to be individuals participating in this game, Senior Assassin. Please do not assume any similar suspicious activity observed is related to this game. Any unusual activity should be reported immediately by calling 911. We encourage parents to talk to their children about safety concerns linked to openly carrying a squirt gun that resembles a look-alike firearm and being on private property without permission. Consider the perception of an uninformed resident who sees a person rapidly displaying a replica firearm in a populated common area. That action could be viewed as alarming and disturbing, which are elements of a criminal offense and or local ordinance violation, disorderly conduct. The police department understands there is excitement and anticipation as the school year comes to a conclusion. We request all students to please be mindful of their actions. Sounds like a fun game.
Okay, first of all, the game sounds awesome.
It sounds like a fun game, and it also almost feels like this is why we can't have nice things anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let me add, before I ask you about this, that my brother, it was when he was a senior, they did something like this. It wasn't like once you got tagged, you were out, but it was tag. They played tag, and the only boundaries were time. Tag was over at like 9 p.m.
Wow.
And this was so intense. So this would have been, I guess I would have been in college. I'd have been back for college when he was a senior. And I was living at the house. It had to be because they drove. So yeah, he would have been a senior. And there were times like his friends would just burst into our house to try to find my brother. And it was like everybody was okay with this. I'm like, what if I'm changing? What if I'm coming out of the shower? They're like, my brother would be like, it doesn't matter if it's before 9 p.m. And I'm like, what the heck do you mean it doesn't matter? Get these stinky boys away, just a typical big sister type of thing. I recall one time sitting at the computer, and when I was growing up, children, back in my day, you had a computer in the house, and it was like in the kitchen where everybody was. And that's how you enjoyed the internet after 30 minutes of dial-up tone. I'm sitting there trying to write a paper for a college class in the kitchen, and the computer desk was right by the back door, and we pretty much only use the back door. And all of a sudden, and it was dark at this time, but like it was getting later in the spring, so all of a sudden at the door is, I'm not gonna say his name, he probably doesn't want to be associated with this, but he runs into the house, and my brother was in the shower, which was right off the kitchen, and he's like, let me in. He's like banging on the door, and I'm just sitting here and it was totally okay with everybody. He's like, I'm taking the doors off the hinges. And my mom was in there and was like, well, it's before 9 o'clock. I'm like, what is the matter with you people? There's just something very different about senior boys. I don't know what goes into your brain when you're a 17, 18-year-old boy, but you're like, what would be the coolest thing ever? A game of tag that has no physical boundaries. One time they busted in my house and my mom almost had a heart attack. She was so afraid of what was happening. But now you add in this, and it's a different time. That would have been the early 2000s when that was taking place, mid 2000s. And now you've got people running around with squirt guns. Like, to me, it's like you got to change the mechanism to eliminate people. There should be no guns or firearms of anything of any kind.
I don't know. I think the squirt gun thing actually sounds kind of fun. You just have to make sure you're using a big neon super soaker. You can't run around with a thing that looks like a gun. You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. But I would be fine with the super soaker thing. The only thing is that then you'd have to limit it to places that could get wet. You couldn't just run into a library and start shooting somebody. There have to be boundaries to a squirt gun game. But other than that, my mind is going to, all right, then let's set up boundaries for the squirt gun game. I'll be here, and then this place is off limits, and this time is. But I'm going full into the rules. because I'm already engaged. I like the idea.
They played this when I was in college. And it was,
with the squirt guns?
Yes. And like they had a piece of paper with your target's name on it. So everybody had a target, and the last person standing was the one that won. And they had to collect everybody else's targets and, either eliminate who they hadn't eliminated or,
I tell you, the way that you started reading that story, the fact that it was called Senior Assassin, I just assumed this was teenagers out paintballing senior citizens. I thought that's where this was going. And the fact that it was a squirt gun fight between seniors.
So you were just relieved.
I was like, oh, this is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Well, what was weird about the way we played it was flipped. You had to do it on campus. You had to do it on the college campus, and there were probably certain rooms off limits, and it was like very tightly held, and it was actually sponsored by the school, so people knew what was going on. So it wasn't just senior kids
it's
getting
tough
together.
too, though, because now I don't know if you've noticed this, Brad, but I've seen ads. I don't know why they target me. Probably because I probably would buy a squirt gun if I saw one today. That were the technology of squirt guns has come a long way.
Yeah,
where you can find guns that
the electronic ones.
Yeah, you can hurt people with a squirt gun now. So you'd have to define even what kinds of guns you could use in the game.
Yeah.
Plus, busting into somebody's house playing tag who's got a sister, that sounds awesome. I mean, let's just say that may have been part of the game.
That's a risk we're willing to take.
I remember, I had to draw the blinds on I said that to my brother one time. I was like, what if I'm in my room, I'm changing? They're like, run through the yard. He's like, close your blinds. I'm like, can they come in the house? He's like, if it's before 9. And I'm like, what if they come in my room? He's like, then change in the bathroom and lock the door. I'm like, this is our house. Did not matter. My parents were completely picking his side on it. You want to talk about being the only boy and the youngest and getting the baby of the family treatment? It culminated in tag, for sure. It was funny until I was like, could be naked.
Can I ask what the results of the game were? Like, once you got tagged, were you out?
Were it. No, you were
or you were
it.
just it.
But,
so it's just forever. There's no winner.
And my recollection is that there's like their whole big friend group. There was a bunch of guys that were involved, and they never knew who was actually it. So they were always like, they'd get together and they were all side-eyeing each other all of the time. Like people being very suspicious of one another. It's kind of like, I don't know enough about Among Us, but it kind of reminds me of Among Us, the game, the popular game. You've ever played that?
Among Us is a blast.
Explain it briefly.
So Among Us is
Among Us?
Among Us.
Among Us?
Among Us. It's a computer game. You got however many, 8 people in a room. Somebody is the imposter, and that person's job is to eliminate everybody before he is found out as the imposter.
So you're like killing people. I mean, like it's like
they're cartoon.
It looks like something that was made in the 80s.
But it's a computer game.
Yeah, it was.
I've played that game when I was in high school up until even I think maybe my kids have played it in real life. But it's called Mafia
with the cards.
Like that.
Yeah, no, this
the cards.
Like there's tasks that you have to perform so that your ship doesn't crash because you're in space.
Mafia that you're talking about with winking.
I don't know. Maybe.
Among Us.
Yeah, so you gotta and your character has a limited field of view, and so you'll come across a dead body, and then you got to call an emergency meeting, or and there's a spot that you have to get to so that you can call that emergency meeting. And then once you get in there, you go into a discussion room, and everybody has to accuse everybody of who did what. And like if you limited field of view, you walked up on somebody who also walked up on the body. Well, that looks quote unquote sus. And then you've got to try to convince the people.
The whole time I was trying to figure out, what's that phrase?
Sus.
Well, I just said suspicious, but I didn't come up with sus.
Yeah.
I always say picious.
And then...
You always have to be different.
Yeah.
You have 2 minutes to make your arguments, and then you've got to vote either to not vote anybody off or vote somebody off, and that person's eliminated from the game.
Until you find out who the imposter is.
Until you either
and
get the imposter.
another person is a cop or something.
It's just like the show Survivor with Richard Hatch.
That is such an old reference.
We played a game. I don't know if Mafia is the same thing. We called it Drug Dealer. And then when we started playing it at youth group, we called it Candy Dealer. And
the pastor walks by. Oh, that's above board.
Oh, no, they played with us.
All right.
They played with
pixie
us.
sticks.
So what you do is, let's say you have 5 people. You can play it with however, you can play it with, it's pretty much limitless, but let's say you have 8 people. You get 8 cards out of a deck. The ace is the drug dealer, the candy dealer, the king is the cop. And you just sit around, you shuffle the cards, you put out everybody gets 1 card. So all the other 6 cards are non-ace, non-king. So their job is to get their candy without getting caught. And the candy dealer's job is to get the candy out to everyone without getting caught. So then the way you get your candy to somebody is you wink at them. If they see you wink, then they can turn their card over in the middle and say, I've got my candy.
I think this was similar to Mafia. I don't remember.
Mafia's like that. We play Mafia at the youth group, except, the Mafia's job is to eliminate all the townsfolk before the townsfolk. You take people out. And there's a cop and there's a doctor as well.
It is super fun to play.
It is super fun.
It's super fun to play 1 or 2 drinks in with your friends.
Yeah,
you're sitting around staring at each other. Everyone's smiling and you're giggling. Nobody's really talking. Somebody's trying to wink. You get halfway through and you realize that person actually can't wink. It's just I have one friend.
Or they just have a twitch.
I have one friend who we played this with, like, in adult life. It's like a New Year's Eve game for us sometimes, and he can't wink. So when he gives a wink, it's gonna be like super obvious, and his the eyebrows go way up and the jaw goes down, and it's like, could it be you? I don't know.
You can't wink, huh? That's kind of debilitating. I would play these games now. They sound so fun.
Oh, they're a blast.
The problem is, we're not at that age where you get together with people.
Yeah, but you could play it with your kids. Mm-hmm. Your kids are old enough to play that game.
Are there enough people in one family to play?
5 would be plenty.
Is it?
Sure.
See, in youth group, it was always 20 kids or more.
You need at minimum 4.
Yeah.
But if you have 5 kids, you could totally play it.
Well, now they want to play games. I just want to sit on the couch.
There's a trick. Like, you can just, as soon as you get it, you identify the candy dealer. You just do one big wink and see how many people you can clear out and hope it's not the cop. I've done that. All right, let's take a quick break. I don't know if Senior Assassin is around here, but it certainly was in Madison County in about 2005 spring in my house.
I'm just going to start it, see if anybody else wants to play. I'll just bust out and I'll just start squirting Ethan.
Ethan wouldn't be surprised by it. He probably wouldn't even, move in his chair.
No.
He'd just be like, all
I
right.
got to cut this audio for Reardon.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Coming towards her, stuck still.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Do you know about the true crimes that inspired a Bruce Springsteen album? Or the murders AC/DC was blamed for? How about Taylor Swift's violent stalkers? Or the suspicious deaths of Brittany Murphy and River Phoenix? These stories and more are told in the Disgraceland podcast, hosted by me, Jake Brennan, every Tuesday, where I dive deep into subjects from the dark side of music history and entertainment. So follow and listen to Disgraceland on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
The biggest piano sale of the year is being held at the Muni starting Thursday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 6th. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music, and every year Lacefield Music supports the Muni by loaning the Yamaha pianos needed for all their coaching, rehearsal, and performance needs. In appreciation, the Muni hosts an annual sale of all the pianos used during the season. In addition to the loan pianos, a huge selection of new and used pianos will be brought to the Muni for you to shop. New Yamaha Grands, Uprights, Clavinovas, and Disclavier player pianos, plus new and used Zyler, Kawai, Baldwin, Roland, and vintage Steinways. All will be offered at rock bottom prices. The event is at the Muni starting April 3rd. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are by appointment only. Sunday is open to the public. Call 314-860-2712 to make an appointment. That's 314-860-2712.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number one in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And in over 20 years in business, they have improved the look and the thermal efficiency of over 76,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area. Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. And I think the customer service sets them apart from the rest of their competition. And they have an excellent track record with the Better Business Bureau. They've also raised a lot of money, over $3 million for local and national charities. So be sure and check them out. Call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. You can also go to windowworld.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
News that's on time. On your time. Download the Odyssey app and dip in whenever you want. And stay on top of what's happening. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
The atmosphere, architecture, unfamiliar.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
In the yellow and green, stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot
Man, it's just raining and pouring, and it's going to rain all day, and Ryan's soccer game got canceled.
Psych.
Psych.
It's still on. I can't believe. I mean, it's 2:27.
Said you're playing in Edwardsville.
And we're playing at 6 o'clock, and they still have not canceled that game.
I feel like when I looked earlier, because I was wondering about baseball tonight, I'm so glad when they cancel these things early. It's like, let's not pretend that situation's going to change here, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, cancel it early, especially if it's on a weekend. If it's on a weeknight, I'm a little more flexible because it's not like I can do much with changing my plans. But on a Friday or a Saturday, let me know as soon as possible.
And here's the thing. It's not just one game tonight. If it was just one, they're like, we're going to see. We might try to stick it out. It's the first game of then 2 more tomorrow where it's also going to rain, and then another one Sunday. and it's supposed to just rain the whole weekend.
Well, my schedule just cleared out tonight because our baseball got canceled. I'll come in my car and sit in the dryness of the Pacifica and
You're just gonna sit in your car outside the.
watch you stand out there like the good dad that you are in the rain.
Why don't we just cancel our appearance at the game regardless, and then come over and play Mafia?
Okay, there you go. Bring the family over and we'll sit around and wink at each other.
Yeah, I'll still make sure he's in all of the soccer stuff. I won't tell him we're not going to the game.
The amount of giggling that would occur between your daughter and my daughter playing that game would be infectious.
I think our daughters are best friends and they see each other once a year. It's bizarre because it is
true.
instant
Yeah.
when they see each other. Like, oh, let me go show you something. Oh, let's talk.
It's like stepbrothers.
Yeah,
Did we just become best friends? I'm not opposed to it. The YouTube live chat poll for today: is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? I think that we have been raised and are living in a very interesting time, our generation specifically, because let's not pretend that like nobody was using marijuana before we were born in the 80s.
I didn't know if they were.
At least.
I thought the hippies were just more of drinkers. I didn't know they dabbled
LSD
in
and lots of
the marijuana.
Aren't you a big Pink Floyd fan?
Mm-hmm.
When was that created? The good
It was
stuff?
created fully sober for me in 1997 is when I started listening to it.
I don't really care about your interest in it. When did Pink Floyd make their music?
The late 60s through 1980 is basically when they made all their good music.
Was it all influenced?
I don't know. They don't really talk about doing drugs a lot. It's more of part of the drug culture.
Do people
one
who are
song,
doing? Go ahead.
Hello, is anybody in there?
Well, yeah, I guess
That's
story
about an OD.
but that's a story about a person, like a drugged up rock star. So the whole thing is a story. So I don't know. They don't talk about in interviews doing drugs ever though. I mean, maybe they had, but it's not what they hang their hat on. It's weird.
I'm just reading comments here.
Now, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, that album was made in like 1968. That is a trip, and there is no doubt their original lead, the acid trip. Their original lead singer, Syd Barrett, was 100% on drugs. In fact, he dropped out of the band real early because he was on drugs. But the rest of them didn't.
I think about to just say no to drugs world that we lived in. Dare. Did you have what grade was Dare for you?
5th or 6th.
Really?
Yeah.
6th.
It was 6th or 7th when I was growing up. I think we took it in 7th grade, but I think maybe they would sometimes do 6th and 7th, and maybe that's the way the schedule ended up going. But now it's 5th grade. It might be even earlier for some kids that they take a class a little bit sooner. I'm glad that they still do it. But marijuana, man, that was as bad of any drug that would be talked about in there growing up.
It was the gateway drug.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still a lot of people who would say marijuana is a gateway drug. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. It's so hard to find stats on marijuana because there's so much money in it now that you can't just find objective statistics on drug usage. There's too much at play and too many special interests.
Kate said regarding the poll, I don't think drug use of any kind is an issue of morality. I kind of wonder which way she's taken that. Like, it's okay to do it or it's not okay to do it. I know a lot of people would there's a lot of advocacy right now for the usage of mushrooms and those types of things outside of just marijuana. People will talk about how it's a plant. How could it be bad? Go into the Annie Fry YouTube channel and give us your vote right now. We're asking you if it's morally acceptable to use marijuana products. So on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you can vote yes, no, or yes, but only medicinally. What's your thoughts, Ryan?
Man, I'm really torn on this one because I could go either way to go full libertarian and say yes. We just sort of have to.
But libertarian is like that's
not moral.
That's not moral.
That's legal.
That's you trying to tell other people what you should do. This is about you.
Yeah.
And your relationship with it, and if you wouldn't do it because you feel like it's an immoral practice to do.
I'm gonna say is it morally acceptable? I'm going to say no. But it's a weird thing is because it's marijuana, it's very much on the line. I don't really know where to draw the line. Obviously, I've tried to take all of my morality personally and then even the way I believe about the world publicly from the Bible. And drug usage actually is addressed in the New Testament. It's just addressed in the original Greek in the word pharmakeia, P-H-A, where we get the word pharmacy. And the way that it's used in the Bible is the word pharmakeia is used as a form of witchcraft, like witchcraft by drugs is basically what that word means.
Sobriety is talked about a lot in the Bible.
It is, but drug usage is a little bit, you got to search for it a little harder. Usually when we read it in English, it's translated witchcraft, but it's the original Greek is pharmakeia, which would be a drug-induced witchcraft. So I have always thought that meant, you know what, I think I'm going to stay away from this stuff because I don't really know where the line is for what constitutes a drug. Like, I don't know what that is. Does that mean that meth is bad, but alcohol's okay? You know, like, what is a drug? So I just kind of put it all into a category and say, no thanks, not for me. So I'm a no.
I also think that it's very important to understand people derive their morality from a whole variety of different things. So what you would consider, Ryan, to be a moral justification to do anything, if another person's morality is a derivative of a different line of thinking or faith or whatever they're drawing from, then you could deem it to be moral or immoral for you to do it, and another person could be justifying it to be moral or immoral. And if there's a disagreement there, you'd really be discussing more philosophies than the specificity of the usage of marijuana.
Absolutely. And that's actually why this question is a good one, and it's why it's a good public debate that we are currently having as a society, because where do you draw your morality, first of all? But then once you do, are you going to make a strong point from that morality that you either should or should not be able to do this legally, publicly?
Well, and it lends to the first thing you said, that you've been more libertarian about it. That's your political application of you understanding that your morality is derived from something different than another's and not wanting to impose that derivative on someone else,
especially
from
on
a
this
legalistic standpoint.
Yeah, and especially on this one because it's a little unclear. Because if something is clear, I'm going to vote that way. In fact, I would vote that way on this. But this one is a little bit murky, so I kind of have to take my hands off of it a little bit.
Brad?
I land on this one, yes, only medicinally. I originally, whenever I originally was addressing the marijuana issue, it was always a no. But the more I talk to people that have used it for medicinal purposes, and I'll give you some examples. One person was a cancer patient, and they used it to help restore their appetite because the chemotherapy caused nausea and stuff like that. And these were prescriptions from doctors. This was before it was legalized in Illinois. Other issues, they're looking at it for a pain medicine, and if you compare the use of marijuana to alleviate pain versus like an opioid, I would think that a marijuana might be a safer alternative. But when I say medicinally, I'm talking about getting advice from your doctor, not your dealer. So, with the oversight of a doctor, like opioids are super dangerous, and, doctors hand those out, and we still have problems with people getting addicted to opioids, even with doctor supervision. But that nobody really until recently second guessed that until we started seeing some of the fallout. And so I think with marijuana, if you're using it medicinally under the prescription of a doctor and the work of a doctor, I think that's okay. It's like using any other drug to treat any sort of ailment that you have. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And Ryan, to your point, you were talking about, in the Bible. In the Bible, we see an example of Paul telling Timothy to drink a little wine to help calm his stomach. That's an example of using something that some denominations will say wine is bad, it's the liquid devil, but Paul says use it as a treatment for your upset stomach or whatever like that. So use this as medicine. So I think that you can make I can make a really solid argument that yes, but only medicinally. I don't really support the idea of recreational marijuana use as
When you talk about medicinally, too, we could go a whole bunch of different ways on what people would say that they are medicinally using marijuana for. I mean, if you're not taking Prozac or you're not taking or Ambien or, some sort of medicine that is helping you sleep or helping you manage anxiety or, any of these types of things that's a little bit more entry level than I'm a cancer patient and I can't do anything else to manage the pain or my comfort. It is a broad range. I don't feel comfortable with anything that really alters my state of mind. And I even if I'm drinking alcohol, like I'm not opposed to drinking alcohol. I don't care if other people drink alcohol. My husband will have he's using the smoker outside and he'll have a beer or something with it because he enjoys the beer. That's not really me. I don't think, gosh, I need a drink. I don't ever want to need a drink. But I think there are a lot of different things that people can utilize to manage things that maybe a drink takes a little bit of the edge off after a long day at work, and it's not a sin to do that. Certainly biblically, there are lots of examples of alcohol being used in a way that is in cohesion with the presence of God. So it's not as though I would say that is inherently wrong either. So I'm probably going to say yes, medicinally. I don't think that I can't think of much good that is to come from regularly having to use it for recreation, but I don't also have never ever actually partaken in it. I don't know what it would do to my body. I don't know how I would react to it. And I've got some aches and pains that I'd really like to get rid of. I'm going to a chiropractor to try to, manage those aches and pains and try to get myself back online. So we all engage in different types of treatments. I'm kind of a less is more when it comes to putting things in my body invasively. And I don't know. That's just kind of your body as a sanctuary type of a mentality that I have that I admittedly am ignorant and I don't know what I don't know on this. I don't think that it is entirely always morally wrong, though. So I would have to say yes, medicinally. But, I'm not fighting anybody over it. If they want to say, Annie, you're wrong and that's the dumbest thing you ever said, I'd be like, okay, probably.
You know where it gets thorny to make the biblical case? Tony on our chat right here brings this up. He says, drugs are man-made, marijuana is natural. I hear that argument a lot too, and it makes sense. The only thing is that then you're assuming anything natural, like anything that comes from the earth, is good.
Yeah.
And
Opium,
that's not necessarily true. And so,
opioids are used to manage. That still can be used in a way medicinally that helps people manage pain. So
I always think, but people say, well, if it's part of God's creation, then God must have intended it. It's like, well, no, there was a fall also, and
minor detail of the timeline.
I always go back to our flies part of the created order.
Mosquitoes.
I mean, flies literally are like the Lord of the Flies is Beelzebub. So are you saying, well, yeah, that was part of creation too?
What if flies were good until the fall?
Maybe.
Do you think flies and mosquitoes came post?
I don't
Apple?
know. I mean, they're certainly not referred to biblically as being good. So I don't know whether it was the fall that made them bad.
There are not many huge cultural or earthly benefit to flies. You never see one and oh, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
But what if they were super helpful before the fall?
That's entirely possible.
Good question. Yeah. But that's the kind of this is a fun debate because of that kind of stuff. And when people go, well, marijuana is natural, you're like, well, that doesn't mean everything that's created is always good.
So's the angry grizzly bear.
Frank says, my mom took one hit off a joint in 1975 and thought she was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Never again.
Speaking of Pink Floyd.
At least, of all of the people in The Wizard of Oz that she could be, Dorothy would not be the worst.
Yeah.
What if you're the Tin Man?
Yeah, what if you're the Tin Man?
Or Toto.
Yeah, or like Toto. Like you said.
Do you want to just do this?
No, I need you to say it first.
You won't know what to do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get the results and your thoughts on the poll when we come back. We're asking you if it's morally acceptable to use marijuana products. Last week when we were talking about this, I told the story that when it became legal, I looked at my husband. I'm like, hey, do you care if I try this now? I'm kind of curious. And he just judged me as hard as anyone could ever be judged. And I haven't done it since then. He keeps me in the straight and narrow. And then a lot of people were commenting Annie, it's fine. You should totally do that if that's something you. And so I thought, gosh, I bet we're divided on this, but I wonder how much. Well, you can let us know. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. And in our live broadcast is a live chat, a live chat poll. We'll be right back.
I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. We got two in
Your
the
home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
We are here another year, 2025, and time to be planning and scheduling your air conditioning startups to make sure you're getting ready to go this summer and got nice, proper cooling and no worries on if your air conditioner is going to make it through the summer. So give us a call. Early bird gets the worm. This is one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, and that number is 314-293-2600. Again, if this is a little early for you, save this number in your phone then in case you do need me or you do forget to have your system checked and it does break down on you this summer. That number, save it, is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-298-7182. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182. 800-298-7182.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, this is my last hope. The next step is getting them in the right arch supports. Our goal is to have that long-term change for them, to see someone that is in pain. I change things for them. See how we can help you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? That is written by a person who clearly does not use marijuana products. YouTube live chat poll today. We will find out the results of this poll in just a couple minutes, so you have some time to get your vote in still if you'd like to. Yes only medicinally, or no, or are your answers. 247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I show YouTube poll, like Ryan was just saying, is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products? Just got a message from a listener that said that there was an instance where the medical professionals were going to put implants in the patient's brain to stop seizures because pharmaceuticals weren't working anymore. And they have now gone 8 years with no seizure problems by using marijuana.
That's pretty cool.
Like, how could you possibly say that's immoral to use that?
Well, if that's 100% true, I would want to look in to see if there's any other
Do you
factors.
need me to ask them for their medical records for you to review?
I do.
Okay. I'll get them to you.
Yeah. Send them through the portal so that it's safe.
It's going to be like this.
You got to watch the stream to pick up some of the jokes.
I tried to get it low, and I don't think I did. I think it's on there. Ethan, do you have any thoughts on this issue? The moral acceptance of using marijuana?
I think it, in my opinion, entirely depends on the reasoning behind using it. I think that
as research has come along, I think that they have found out that there are a lot of ways that medical marijuana can be beneficial for a lot of different reasons. I'm personally against the use of it in a recreational fashion or recreational manner. Yeah, I think that it just has to do a lot personally with, I think you guys summarized a lot of it pretty well in your last segment, but I think I would line up with a lot of that from a recreational standpoint.
Would you agree that it's ruined brownies? Because now every time you eat a brownie, you're like, oh, I got to ask whether there's any pot in this.
Do you?
I've never been to a place where I've eaten brownies where I had to clear that it wasn't
I don't think
pot lace.
I like walking up to a brownie tray and just sticking my face in it. And now I can't. I got to pause and consider.
So you're telling me
I promise you that you haven't paused.
I promise that I have. Somebody.
Who are you hanging out with? Give us names. I'll give you medical records. You give me names.
It's just bake sales. Like if I hear there's a bake sale in my town, I'm going.
Well, there's your first problem.
What about if one
Bake
of your
sales.
one of your little kiddos or want to make dad some brownies? Are you like right? Ooh, brownies, and you're like, wait,
kids, did you put pot in
Did you
these?
put CBD in this?
Yeah.
You trying to make me sleepy?
I tell you what, I don't even do a cakewalk anymore because of this. Whenever I used to see a cakewalk, and
He
I'm like,
can
I'm in.
finish the show in this shtick. He could go the whole time.
And
Got 6
now
minutes.
I see a cakewalk, they're playing music, everybody's having a good time. I'm questioning it. And I don't want to do that.
You know why they're having a good time?
Yeah, I do. They're all baked.
The only thing, the cakes. The only thing that I really wish wasn't legal is the public smoking of marijuana. Can we undo that?
That is the big. As far as it crosses into my life,
I don't need to
that
know
is
your
the
business.
area. Yes, I can't believe if you had told me before marijuana, and I'm sure I had smelled it at some point before, but now it's so common to be driving down the interstate. I don't know how physics would even make that
and
possible.
it hits you like a ton of bricks.
And
it's not subtle.
Thick. It's not like, oh, I think I'm picking up on a skunk here. You are smelling the person in front of you's weed, and it is so potent that you're like, how does wind not work on this?
The funniest part is that some people actually think that it smells good. That's the part that amazes me. Is
Yeah,
there's
they're
people out
high.
there that will
Those
try
are people
and
who are
advocate.
actually high
Oh,
in
man,
that
it
moment.
smells great.
I don't understand how this entire generation that we're raising right now, they don't know that skunks smell like skunk. They think that skunks smell like weed. That's how much it's happening right now. You'll be walking around in your department store or whatever it might be, or driving down the highway, and they're like, oh my gosh, they smell weed. It doesn't matter if you just like hit the skunk or you see the skunk spray. They'll be like, I think that skunk's been smoking some weed. It's they don't understand that the skunk, when you say it smells skunky, that is due to skunks.
Yes. I think we told our kids early on, oh, that's a skunk. And so they'll still say, am I smelling a skunk? And I'm like, but they figured out now, no, that's marijuana. Other times I'm like, no, that actually is a skunk. And we're going to
How old
go
are your kids?
home and give you a tomato bath.
I just got a text message from State Senator Nick Schroer and says that Missouri public smoking of marijuana is still illegal. One more time, Missouri doing the right thing when Illinois sucks.
Thank you, Nick.
The reason I asked how old your kids are is because in my opinion, I don't remember ever at that young of an age remember smelling it and being like, oh yeah, that's marijuana. It just goes to show just how
it's
in the
changed.
last 10
it's
years it's completely
changed.
changed.
Eric on YouTube says, Annie, I suffer from non-epileptic grand mal seizures. Only found out after going through drug rehab. Got clean and started having seizures. That's, when you hear these types of stories, what we are experiencing when we meet the marijuana world, it's in Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to
Or
pick
on
out
70.
some bananas. Yes. But
Mark McGuire Highway, sorry.
It's a lot.
Refer to it by its original
He
name.
knew he was using substances. You don't think about it in these terms and the amount of progress that has been made with something that's helping people manage pain, manage seizures. I've heard that now multiple times. And the first person who I told you I know personally, and I know that to be factually accurate. The thing from a not moral question, which is what we asked today on the YouTube poll. You can still go vote real quick if you hurry before Ethan gives us the result. Set the moral side, a thing aside. We can go into what you said before, Ryan, about you said you have libertarian views on it. The reason why I've never been like, outlaw marijuana, is because alcohol is legal and has all the research, and I have done personal research because I couldn't find anybody anywhere who could talk to me about it without a passionate advocacy for one way or the other. And I wanted no spin. I didn't want to talk to anybody who was like, I really hope at the end of this you agree with me. I just wanted to know the facts. And alcohol seems a whole lot more dangerous to me than marijuana on the whole, if it's abused.
It's weird because I'm sure everybody over the last few years especially has had a moment where they go, oh, that kind of has changed my perspective on this entirely, whether for the positive or the negative. I don't know. But the one thing, and it just happened recently, was I heard or read, it might have even been on a Wiggins America story that I did, that they're now doing and trying to legalize, probably going through the hoops of whatever, marijuana-infused beverages.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now that just looks a lot like a beer. And if it makes you feel like a beer, it kind of blew my mind. Like, oh, that has blurred that line so much for me.
Well, before you partake in it, make sure you ask Jared so he can properly shame you into not doing it.
I will. And before I will never use the word blew my mind when talking about drugs again. Because then I sound like I am on drugs. Dude.
It blew my mind.
They're putting it in drinks now.
It's funny, this whole well, no, never mind. I'm not going to say that.
You could just put it in your coffee.
Just drop it right in.
We have just a little bit too much time left in the show. I can't change the subject. You can keep going. It's just going to get worse. What do I do? I'm starting to panic.
Add a PSA.
Yeah. Adopt the pet, spay and neuter.
I'm gonna reuse a joke just to fill time, okay? I don't
Thank
even
you.
go to bake sales anymore, you guys. Gee whiz.
As you're staring at the clock.
He looked at me like...
Cake walks used to be fun.
Ryan just looked at me. I think it's a look that you've never given me before. It was like, I'm sorry, I can't stop. It's like, I'm out of control.
There was shame in my eyes.
You're gonna,
for the first time ever.
It was. There was like a need. There was a need for pity. Right, looking at me, your eyebrows were up. Ethan, get us out of here. Good grief.
293 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Is it morally acceptable to use marijuana products
on a radio show?
No.
That is not what the poll says. Is it yes to 52%? You messed me up, Ryan. 52% say yes. 33% say yes only for medical purposes, and then 15% say
just
no.
15% saying
15%,
is
wow.
pretty impressive for me. I think we're on the other side of this issue now, don't you?
I do too.
Anything else to add? Are you going to your soccer game tonight? Soccer game tonight? Still on?
God, it's still on.
Not for me. I'm free tonight. All right, keep it here. Fish Fry with Mark Reardon next.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
When Greg Hammonds at GregHammonds.com talks to people about
about health insurance, they tell him, number 1, my premiums are too much. Number 2, my deductible is so high I never meet it. And number 3, my doctor doesn't accept my plan anymore. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA market. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible. And they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance and available all year long, so you can enroll today. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7785.